I'm pretending to cultivate immortality in kindergarten. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51 Husband, Ran brought a girl home again. Han Wenwen had a good sleep in the rental house at noon. With Lin Zhengren here, she always felt more at ease even when sleeping. In the afternoon, she took her temperature again and it was basically back to normal. Han Wenwen suggested that she take a shower first and pick out some clothes, otherwise she couldn't go to Lin Zhengren's house. Lin Zhengren didn't think it was necessary to take it so seriously. Aren't you afraid of a relapse of the cold if you take a shower? Besides, you're just going to my house to play, so you just need to clean up a little. Han Wenwen went to the bathroom in slippers. Then it's okay to wash your hair? After all, it's my first time to go to a boy's house, and I'm still very shy. Lin Zhengren laughed and said nothing more. Remember to blow dry your hair after washing it. If you have a fever again, I won't stay with you all night. Han Wenwen smiled at him again. I know. Thank you classmate Lin Zhengren for caring about me so much. Han Wenwen walked into the bathroom and closed the door. With a red face, she took a deep breath slowly. She was going to meet Lin Zhengren's parents at his home. No one knew how nervous the little fox was at this moment. After washing her hair and blowing it dry, she changed into a skirt that covered her thighs and a short-sleeved shirt with off-shoulder design. Han Wenwen's dressing style is very different from He Qing's. One looks pure and sweet no matter what she wears, while the other looks pretty and charming no matter what she wears. From the appearance alone, no one would have thought that these two would be the best of girlfriends. Taking Han Wenwen to her home, Han Wenwen with her long hair attracted the attention of passers-by wherever she went. People couldn't help but sigh, how could there be such a beautiful girl? Lin Zhengren was not surprised by the hatred of his peers towards him. Because today was Saturday, Lin Ziali and Lin Yingjin were not working and were leaning on the sofa watching TV. Mom Lin Ziali always looked like a little bird at home, leaning on her husband's chest and playing with his hands. Hearing the knock on the door, she was curious. Who is it? Lin Zhengren answered outside the door. Mom, it's me. Ran is back? Why are you back so early today? Lin Ziali went to the door and asked, just wanting to ask why he came home so early today, but as soon as she opened the door, she saw Han Wenwen standing next to Lin Zhengren. That beautiful fox face even surprised Lin Ziali. Lin Ziali's expression was dull and her brain short-circuited while she murmured in her heart. Oh my god, Ran has hooked up with a new girl and went home. And this girl is so beautiful, one more beautiful than the other. Han Wenwen was rarely so nervous. She smiled awkwardly and half bowed to greet. Hello, Auntie, my name is Han Wenwen. I am Lin Zhengren's classmate and his deskmate. Oh, deskmate, hello, Zio Wenwen. Lin Ziali examined Han Wenwen and subconsciously turned back in panic. Husband, come out. Ran is back. Come here. Lin Yingjin, who is watching TV, exclaimed. Curious about why his son came back and called him? He turned off the TV and walked over. As a result, when they saw the beautiful Han Wenwen, the couple, as expected of a couple, stayed there. Lin Yingjin whispered, why did you bring a third girl home? Lin Zhengren didn't understand. Mom and Dad, what are you daydreaming about? He called Han Wenwen. Come in with me, I'll take you to my dad's study. He walked into the house and said to Lin Yingjin, Dad, you don't need the computer today, right? I'm going to the study with my classmates to play on the computer. Han Wenwen also nodded politely to Lin Yingjin. Hello, Uncle. My name is Han Wenwen. Sorry to bother you and Aunt today. Hello, don't bother. The little fox also changed his shoes and followed Lin Zhengren to the study and closed the door. In the silent living room, the couple still had expressions that hadn't come back to their senses. After waiting for a long time, Lin Ziali gently touched her husband's belly with her elbow. Don't you think Ran is a little outrageous? Who does he take after? As a mother, I've only had one relationship. Lin Yingjin looked at his wife's expression and swallowed. Why are you looking at me like that? You said he inherited my handsomeness, but this is not from me. I have only dated you. Besides, our son is very traditional. It should be just a friend. Don't think too much about it. Even if they are friends, they won't be friends only with pretty girls, right? Lin Ziali was stunned and curious. Husband, do Zio He Qing and Zio surely know about this beautiful girl named Han Wenwen? Lin Yingjin smacked his lips. It's hard to say. If they knew, I dare not imagine the scene. The couple looked at each other and sighed in tacit understanding. In the study, Han Wenwen saw Lin Sehengren sitting down at the computer desk, and recalled what Uncle Lin had just said. Classmate Lin Sehengren, just now uncle and aunt. Lin Sehengren turned on the computer and hummed, "Do you think my parents' reaction is a bit exaggerated? It's okay, if you come often, they won't care. They were like this when Zhang Zuli came at the beginning, you'll get used to it." Han Wenwen smiled helplessly, thinking that classmate Lin Sehengren is really popular with women. How annoying. Lin Sehengren opened the game and let Han Wenwen operate it herself while he watched. The games in this world are no different from the original world. The same 10-player competitive games occupy the majority of the gaming world. Han Wenwen reminded him before starting, "Let me make it clear first, I'm really not very good at playing." Lin Sehengren didn't take it seriously. "It's okay, you play against the AI first, how bad can you be? Can you still?" Half an hour later, Han Wenwen's record against the AI was 0-17, and she almost died as soon as she went out. When the victory icon of the game was displayed, Han Wenwen said happily, "We won. Although my teammates led us to victory, I also played a key role a few times, right? This game feels good." The little fox looked at Lin Sehengren's gloomy expression and asked playfully, "Lin Sehengren, your face looks so scary." Lin Sehengren took a deep breath and looked at Han Wenwen seriously. "No wonder you said that you didn't make money from live streaming before. With your skills, I can play better than you with a dead skin on my heels." The audience thought you were deliberately making fun of them. Han Wenwen blinked her fox eyes and innocently took out a bottle of lotion from her pocket. "This can remove dead skin, you meow." Lin Sehengren began to make an extremely sharp evaluation of the human-computer game just now. Han Wenwen was stunned and complained in her low voice. Lin Sehengren looked so fierce. Lin Sehengren stopped talking and stared at the other party with contempt. "What did you say?" Han Wenwen was sweating and covered her face with one hand. "Go on, I'm listening." Lin Sehengren explained something carefully and taught Han Wenwen step by step. Han Wenwen didn't understand at first, but when he taught her seriously, Han Wenwen felt that her mind was opened. So this is how to play, and then what skills did Lin Sehengren say? Any game has skills, and this is the same. While talking and teaching, Han Wenwen, although she was not good at playing, was very serious in using a small notebook to record the various position ideas and experiences that Lin Sehengren said. In fact, she had learned these things online before, but she was still a novice. However, under Lin Sehengren's teaching, she found that she could really remember them, and her learning speed was quite fast. Finally, after a few actual battles, in the last game of the day against the human computer, Han Wenwen killed like crazy. The record was 32-0. When the 4 words game victory appeared on the screen, Han Wenwen cheered and was excited. She felt like a professional when playing against a human computer. "I won. I'm so strong." She looked at Lin Sehengren in surprise, with stars in her eyes. "Lin Sehengren is so good. I have played many times before and never learned it, but today I am so good." Lin Sehengren laughed with relief, thinking that it was fortunate that he taught me, with double bonuses for various skills. Otherwise, this Fox game live is really hopeless. Lin Sehengren comforted her, "It's okay as long as you've made progress. I will teach you step by step every day for the next month. In about a month, you will be able to make videos, and then with dubbing, with your voice and skilled techniques, you will make money even if you only make edited videos." Han Wenwen was also very excited. "Then I will come directly to classmate Lin Sehengren tomorrow? Anyway, my fever is almost gone. Through this game just now, I really feel that I can make money through games." Lin Sehengren refused. "No, you don't have to come tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, because I will go to practice singing with Zhang Zuli tomorrow and the day after tomorrow." The happy Han Wenwen suddenly had a dull expression, then pouted, turned her head and snorted, and said sarcastically, "Classmate Lin Sehengren is really busy." Lin Sehengren was speechless. "What's with that expression on your face?" Han Wenwen turned around and looked at her, her charming fox eyes fixed on her, and said, "Can't classmate Lin Sehengren see that I'm jealous?" "Lin Sehengren, I can see that you're not well." Unknowingly, a month of training time passed quietly, and most of the summer vacation had passed inadvertently. Thanks to the Universe Insomnia Master for the 100 starting coins. And thanks to many masters for the monthly tickets. As a reward from the masters, this chapter is still a big chapter. Chapter 52, The First Pot of Gold. During this month, Lin Sehengren spent more than half of his time with Han Wenwen and Zhang Zuli. He spent about 4 days a week with Zhao Healy and 3 days with Zhang Zuli. After all, Han Wenwen had just started and had too much to learn. As for Zhao He Qing, he only called her at night and didn't really accompany her. Fortunately, God helps those who work hard. Han Wenwen's gaming skills finally improved from not being able to beat the AI at the beginning to being able to kill people in the match later. Then she started to compete in the rankings, and in just 1 month, she reached the emerald level under Lin Songren's guidance. 10-player competitive games are divided into levels: iron, bronze, silver, platinum, emerald, diamond, master, extraordinary, and king. After king, there is a new peak zone, where all kinds of anchors gather, and it is also the place with the most show effects in the casual games. Although Han Wenwen's skills are not yet at the level of entering the peak zone, it is enough to reach emerald in the ordinary zone in 1 month. Lin Songren asked her to create a video account. Although your skills are not that exaggerated now, you can definitely make a few videos. After all, in this industry, in addition to skills, the program effect is also very important. After saying that, looking at Han Wenwen, who was sitting next to him with a very high EQ, he felt that it would be better not to say this. After Han Wenwen created the account and sat in front of the computer desk, she asked, "Then I will edit the materials of the past few days, add some sound and post it." Lin Songren nodded. Live broadcasting takes time to settle. Even the best anchors can only increase their popularity with more time. So you can post edited videos instead of live broadcasting for now, accumulate a certain number of fans, and prepare for future live broadcasts. Han Wenwen responded and added sound to several videos under Lin Songren's supervision. The little fox is not very good at singing, but her voice is charming and interesting when she chats. After listening to it, Lin Songren felt that this fox will definitely be popular in the future. It's just a matter of time to make money. While the two were talking, Mother Lin Xiaoli knocked on the door and came in with 2 glasses of juice. "Zhao Wenwen, Ranrun, I squeezed juice for you too, you can try it." Han Wenwen, who has a very high emotional intelligence, stood up politely to take the juice. For her, games are very important, but it is more important to make Lin Songren's parents like her. "Thank you, Auntie. I really disturbed you and Uncle during this period." Lin Xiaoli smiled and put the drink in her hand. No, your uncle and I welcome you to come. By the way, Zhao Wenwen, which facial mask did you say was good last time? Oh, it's the one I used before. I'll find it for you. Han Wenwen put down the juice, turned on her mobile phone to find the girl's products and talked happily with Lin Xiaoli, while Lin Songren, who was standing aside, looked at them with some boredom. Curious why they suddenly started talking about facial masks. Han Wenwen held her arm and said to Lin Xiaoli, "Auntie, you are very beautiful and have good skin. If you take care of it a little more, you will definitely be more stunning." Lin Xiaoli covered her face shyly. "Zhao Wenwen is so good at talking. The one you brought to Auntie last time is very useful. Your uncle praised my skin for getting better these 2 days." Lin Songren sighed that this fox really has a natural advantage in winning over the elders. Thinking back to how long He Qing and Zhang Zuli have known me, my mother has asked questions like why haven't they come to play with you recently, but the frequency is very low. But looking at Han Wenwen, in just 1 month, my mother has asked me no less than 10 times, why didn't Zhao Wenwen come to play with you these 2 days? I even miss her a little when she hasn't come for a few days. Have you seen that your mother's skin has improved recently? The two have become close friends regardless of age. As for Zhang Zuli, there is nothing special going on recently. She has been practicing singing. There are still too few programs in the town. Many times when Lin Songren went to her house to teach her, he almost always used it to catch up on sleep. Lying on her bedroom bed, she listened to Zhang Zuli playing guitar and singing beside her. Big idiot, how was my practice just now? Lin Songren turned over in bed and pulled the quilt. Zhang Zuli blushed and complained, do you treat my place like a hotel? Lin Songren commented, why are you in a hurry? I haven't said anything yet. You have practiced quite well during this period, but we are in the preparation stage now. We need a small opportunity to stand out, so before that, you just need to learn everything I taught you before. Zhang Zuli was so angry that she hit his butt with her fist. You are so perfunctory. When will you teach me something new? After you participate in the official program, don't interrupt me. You continue to practice. I'll take a nap, Zhang Zuli snorted, but even so, what she was thinking was that she would have to sleep on the quilt he had slept on tonight. Zhang Zuli played the guitar happily. You big idiot. So annoying, I really don't know what's so good about my bed, you sleep on it every day. It was the last week before school started. This morning, Han Wenwen opened the background of the software and saw that the video she posted had received many comments. There was no commotion in the past few days, but today it seemed that the platform mechanism pushed it to the homepage, and the likes and attention have been pouring in since morning. She looked through the comments in the background. Sister, your voice is so nice. Oh my god, girls are so good at gaming. And you sound so nice when you speak. I'm following you. When will you start the live broadcast? This can't be a voice changer. I suspect it's a boy girl. The video is very interesting. Please support it with a reward. Watch it if you like it. Post more. And if you follow me now, you'll be an old fan. Under the comments, the number of fans increased by more than 4,000 overnight, and the total number has exceeded 5,000. Han Wenwen saw the reward and video playback data in the background. She sat on the bed with her fox eyes wide open, counting one by one, 1,613. It's almost 2,000. This is enough for me to stay up late and work 7 or 8 part-time jobs before. Han Wenwen smiled from ear to ear, and immediately called Lin Sehengren to tell him the good news. She also invited him out for dinner, smiling and saying, Lin Sehengren, the hot pot I owed you before can be paid off this time. She got out of bed to change clothes. I'm going downstairs to buy vegetables now. Can you come to my place to eat in the evening? Let's celebrate tonight. There is no reason not to accept a fox's invitation to dinner. Because in the eyes of the system, this is all opportunity. That night, Han Wenwen bought a lot of beef, mutton, tripe and 2 cans of beer. After seeing this, Lin Sehengren was curious. It's okay to have a lot of ingredients, but why buy beer? Han Wenwen sat next to her and replied, I'm happy today, so I'll drink a little bit. Anyway, Lin Sehengren is here. She smiled at Lin Sehengren. Right, seeing that she was happy today, Lin Sehengren let her do whatever she wanted. Han Wenwen drank beer and ate hot pot that night. She happily talked about how she felt when she saw the amount and her expression when she read the comments, but after a can of beer, her cheeks turned slightly red and she became dazed. And with the help of the alcohol, she said something that was not very relevant to today's topic. Lin Sehengren, do you know? The happiest days of my life were the first few days when I first met He Qing, and the second was this summer when you accompanied me to make money. It was just over 1,000. And why did you hold my arm? You got drunk after 1 can. Han Wenwen leaned her head on Lin Sehengren's arm, her expression drowsy. I'm not only happy because I made money, but mainly because it was Lin Sehengren who helped me when I was in the most difficult time. You have always been with me. Her voice became a little lower and she closed her eyes. It's just that school is about to start, and then I will have to help He Qing chase you again. Lin Sehengren saw that she seemed to fall asleep on his shoulder after she finished talking. He called her a few times, but Han Wenwen didn't respond, and even slowly held his arm. Hello? Han Wenwen? Are you asleep? Lin Sehengren let out a long breath, thinking that she had been busy studying videos recently and was already tired, and the beer had also played a role. So he continued to eat his hot pot and did not disturb her. Who knew that Han Wenwen, who had obviously fallen asleep, quietly opened her eyes a little at this time, her pupils trembling, and she held Lin Sehengren's arm tightly. Classmate Lin Sehengren. I don't want to give you to others. Thank you for the 10,000 starting coins rewarded by the Big Brother Lusakami official. Thank you for the 5,000 starting coins rewarded by the Big Brother Liao Yanxianan. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by the Big Brother Jiang Beizinan. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by the Big Brother Authentic Country Eggs to Wenwen. Thank you for the 2,333 starting coins rewarded by the Big Brother a chatterbox who talks nonsense all day long to Shirley. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by the Big Brother Newcomer Dada. I will add half a chapter for the above big guys and those who voted for me. The number of 10,000 copies per day after the release will increase by 2. Chapter 53 He Qing's decision. The next morning, Han Wenwen was lying on the bed in denim shorts and a short-sleeved shirt. She continued to check the video data. Lin Sehengren, what's the matter with this video push mechanism? How come no one watched the previous video after it was posted for more than 10 days, but there were so many views yesterday? It's almost 1 million views. Lin Sehengren also took off his shoes and sat on her bed to explain, as long as the video quality is high, the platform will occasionally give you some traffic. It depends on whether you can catch it. If you can maintain the same quality, you will have more and more fans, but if it's just a flash in the pan, you can only make some quick money." After saying that, he looked curiously at Han Wenwen, who was staring at him with her hands on her face, with an admiring look on her face. The little fox used to do this in class, holding his face and looking at Lin Sehengren with admiration, as if he wanted to tease him. If it were an ordinary boy, he would probably be stared at by these eyes and be speechless and stuttering. Only Lin Sehengren had a strange look in his eyes. "You have been using the internet for so long, and you don't know the video push mechanism? Also, is it my illusion? Why do I feel that the clothes you wear at home are getting shorter and shorter?" Han Wenwen glanced back at her denim shorts and answered Lin Sehengren's first question first. "I didn't know much about the video before, but I searched it online yesterday, so I know about it." Lin Sehengren speechlessly. "You know? Then why are you asking me?" Han Wenwen narrowed her eyes and smiled. "I want to talk more with such an amazing classmate Lin Sehengren. In fact, when Zhang Zuli performed the last time, I knew that Lin Sehengren was very amazing, because you taught Xiao Qing taekwondo and taught Zhang Zuli to sing. Who would have thought that you would be so good at playing games now?" She is very self-aware. "I know how bad I am, otherwise I wouldn't have given up this job before, but in just 1 month, I have made so much progress, it's incredible. If this continues, won't I become a small rich woman in the future?" Lin Sehengren looked at her. Han Wenwen then answered the second question. "Oh, I'm wearing so little because the weather is hot, and girls all dress like this at home. No one likes to wear that kind of bulky skirt at home, but I'm still here." Han Wenwen looked innocent. "What's wrong with being here? Will classmate Lin Sehengren have any bad thoughts about me when he sees that I'm wearing so little? I remember classmate Lin Sehengren said before that he wouldn't like girls of our age. Could it be that?" Han Wenwen bit her lip. Classmate Lin Sehengren lied before. Lin Sehengren would not have asked if he had known this and returned the phone to her. Although Lin Sehengren still didn't respond, Han Wenwen sat up shyly and added softly, "By the way, I definitely wouldn't wear this outside. It's just for classmate Lin Sehengren to see." The tone of her voice was very sincere, completely different from the previous tone. Lin Sehengren just glanced at her and picked up the school bag beside him. "Stretch out your hand, I'll give you something." "Huh? What is it?" Han Wenwen stretched out her hand honestly, even a little nervous and curious. "Is it a gift?" "Today is not a holiday." Lin Sehengren put the Chinese and math textbooks in her palm. Han Wenwen didn't quite understand. "Textbooks? What's the purpose?" Lin Sehengren also had a simple face. "Alili, of course I learned from Han Wenwen. Now the money has been earned, but the learning I mentioned before has not started yet." As a representative of poor students, Han Wenwen's brain was dulled when she heard about learning. This is exactly her weakness. Smiling awkwardly, tilting her head, "But school will not start for several days. Shouldn't we make more videos to make money?" Lin Sehengren nodded. "Of course, the premise is that you don't want to go to college with He Qing." Han Wenwen immediately sat at the head of the bed with her knees hugged in dejection. "Sad fox. Unhappy I'm not good at studying, not as good as playing games." Lin Sehengren was confident, and took out a few more papers and handed them to him. "Don't worry, it's easy with me here." Han Wenwen stared at Lin Sehengren. She thought so too. As long as she was alone with Lin Sehengren, she would be happy to study. "Okay, let's study." In the last few days of summer vacation, Han Wenwen and Lin Sehengren put aside the game videos for the time being. Anyway, they had taken a lot of them before, so they just had to upload one every few days to keep it updated. The rest of the time was used for study and remedial lessons. Not to mention, Han Wenwen really found that everything was different with Lin Sehengren around. The solution ideas were extremely clear. The speed of memorizing questions increased exponentially. You should know that Xiao Qing's academic performance was also excellent before, and she was always in the top 5 in the class, but even so, Han Wenwen's grades did not change much under Xiao Qing's tutoring. But although the problem-solving methods and ideas mentioned by Lin Sehengren sounded no different from Xiao Qing's solutions, after Han Wenwen listened to his solutions, the nerves related to learning in her head seemed to be connected. "I often feel inside. So that's how it is. So this question is done like this. I understand. Lin Sehengren is really amazing. It feels better than what the teachers said." In a few days, Han Wenwen's grades soared, and Lin Sehengren gave her a mock test paper. Han Wenwen bit the pen cap and filled it out carefully. Lin Sehengren was surprised after commenting with a red pen, "Not bad, 65 points, much better than the previous 30 points. Han Wenwen didn't dare to think that one day she would be so smart in learning. She opened her eyes wide with joy and surprise. Really? Lin's Hengren is great. Things are completely different with you. Happy days always pass very quickly, and the summer vacation ended in this time alone. A week later, school started and everyone was promoted to another grade. When Xiao Heqing, who came back from the south, met the three again, it meant that a new love war continued. The four of them went to see the class schedule together and found that Xiao Heqing and Zhang Zuli were still in the same class, and Han Wenwen and Lin Hengren were also in the same class, and even sat at the same table. Little Fox didn't know how happy he was at that time, while Xiao Heqing and Zhang Zuli still had subtle expressions. Surprisingly, Xiao Heqing and Zhang Zuli didn't make any substantial progress. Until one day 3 months after the start of school, it was almost time for winter vacation again. Xiao Heqing, wearing a white sweater, was in the dormitory on Saturday holding Han Wenwen's mock test scores from the previous week in both hands, and was very surprised. Wenwen, since the start of school, your grades have improved a lot. You have scored more than 80 points several times. Han Wenwen and Xiao Heqing sat on the same bed, thinking that this was all thanks to Lin Hengren. She took little He Qing's arm and looked at her with a smile. You said you would go to high school with Xiao Qing. How can you go back on your word? Although I don't know how you did it, I can really feel how hard you've tried. Little He Qing took a few deep breaths, her lovely chest rising and falling, as if she was about to make some important decision. Han Wenwen was curious. What's wrong? Why are you suddenly silent? Little He Qing got out of bed seriously, biting her lip and clenching her fists, closing her innocent almond eyes and mustering up the courage to say, Wenwen, I've thought about it. I've thought about it for a long time, especially after seeing how hard you've worked. I feel that I can't continue to be so indifferent. I can't drag it on, otherwise there will be more and more girls around him. She opened her eyes and said firmly, I plan to confess to Lin Hengren at the end of this semester. I want to be with him. Han Wenwen's smiling face stayed there, her pupils widened and trembling. What? Thanks to the big boss of Mengja Thrush for the reward of 688 starting coins. Thanks to 20240608214007737 inches for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to Jiuyu's leaves for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to Yu Sheng for the 100 starting coins. In order to thank the big guys for their rewards and monthly tickets, I will try to update more after the release next month. In addition, I will definitely set up a group before the release, and those who are interested can also join it. Chapter 54, Once every 2 weeks becomes once every 3 weeks. The air seemed to freeze. Han Wenwen even suspected that she had heard it wrong, and asked again, Xiao Qing, what did you say? Xiao Heqing only had great courage at that moment, and she couldn't say it again. Her face flushed and she hesitated again and again, but she didn't utter the second sentence until she sat on the bed again, wrapped her body in the quilt, like a dumpling, with only her cute head exposed, and then she dared to speak. I said, I plan to go to Lin Hengren this winter. I want to be with him. Han Wenwen blinked at her, leaned beside her, and asked curiously, I still didn't hear it clearly. Say it again. Xiao Heqing's shy head was about to smoke, and she hid her head completely in the quilt, and her voice was muffled even more. I said that I plan to go this winter and I want to be with. Woo, Wenwen, don't ask, I can't say it. You clearly heard what I said. Han Wenwen was amused and laughed, covering her mouth. She poked the quilt with her slender fingers, and Xiao Heqing looked at her through a crack. Han Wenwen whispered, let's go in and talk for a while. Little He Qing nodded, and the two best friends hid in the bed together, turning into a big dumpling and feeling extremely safe. Han Wenwen sat inside with her invisible foxtail swinging back and forth behind her. She looked at her bestie with gossipy eyes. How come Xiao Qing is so courageous all of a sudden? Is she planning to end the game directly? Xiao Heqing squatted on the bed, drawing circles on the bed with her little hands. It's not that I'm brave, I just have no choice. Wenwen, haven't you noticed that everyone has been talking about love since I entered junior high school? No one talked about these topics in elementary school, but there has been a lot of talk since junior high school. She stared at the little fox blankly. It's all about who is with who likes who confessed to who and so on. Han Wenwen poked her face with her hand. I noticed this too. The book said that this is related to puberty, right? This age is the age when girls are most sensitive, and if it were in ancient times, we would be married at this age? She was shy. It seems so. I'm not too sure about this, but there are too many topics like this recently. I heard a lot of people talking about who was childhood sweethearts with whom, but one of them fell in love with a girl from another class. Also, aren't there a few popular TV series recently? She became a little scared. I was free and watched it, and found that in TV dramas, the childhood sweetheart seems to be always the loser, and the winner in the end is always the girl who suddenly appears. Han Wenwen did not deny this. She read a lot of novels and watched a lot of anime and TV dramas, and it was a rule that the childhood sweetheart could not win against the girl who came from heaven. Little He Qing cried aggrievedly, her head resting on her knees, and she muttered unhappily, "Why? Logically speaking, childhood sweethearts should have the highest chance of winning. Why can't two people who grew up together be defeated by someone who suddenly appears? It may be the problem I mentioned before, because we are too familiar with each other," Han Wenwen explained, "but Zhang Zuli can't be considered a person sent from the sky, right? She and Lin Zhengren are also childhood sweethearts. Strictly speaking, you are the one sent from the sky." Little He Qing was startled. Her mind was confused. I am a person sent from the sky? He and I are childhood sweethearts." The little fox stretched out two fingers, first pointed one finger and said halfway, "You are a childhood sweetheart," and then pointed another finger, "plus a person sent from the sky, double the attributes, because you suddenly appeared in junior high school." Little He Qing was suddenly very happy, opened her eyes wide and poked her head out from the quilt. "Yes." After Wenwen said that, "It seems like I really am a person sent from the sky." Han Wenwen also poked her head out from under the quilt with a click. "It's not you, it's only you. Zhang Zuli has always been with Lin Zhengren. How can she have such a special gift?" Little He Qing grinned. "If that's the case, then don't I have a big advantage?" Han Wenwen closed her eyes and smiled. "So I always thought that He Qing would win." The fighting spirit that had just been ignited by Little He Qing suddenly fell when she thought of how she had been making Lin Zhengren angry last year. "That's not right. Since I have the advantage, why hasn't my relationship with him made any progress? But Zhang Zuli is getting better and better with him." She hugged her thighs and shrank into the corner darkly. "I regret thinking about what happened in the first half of the year. I obviously wanted to take the initiative to do something to get closer to him, but I kept making him angry. He has been more aggressive recently than before." Han Wenwen was ashamed. "Regarding this matter, I still don't understand why my methods made Lin Zhengren angry. It stands to reason that even if it can't increase the progress, it shouldn't have a counterproductive effect." He Qing didn't speak, because she knew that she couldn't always do everything in her plan. "Maybe it's still not suitable for me. I think I still have to use my own way, so I plan to use this winter to knit him a scarf and then confess my love." She thought of the sweet topics that her classmates talked about. She was very excited when she thought about being kissed and hugged by him. "I also want to fall in love with him and want him to spend more time with me." Han Wenwen stared at He Qing's seemingly timid but determined expression, and leaned beside her. "He Qing has really grown up? Since you have made up your mind, I will cheer you on and wish you can fulfill your wish as soon as possible." He Qing blushed and hummed, "Thank you, Wenwen." After she finished speaking, she suddenly couldn't hold it in anymore, and said all the troubles in her heart, closed her eyes and clenched her two small fists. "But I really don't have much courage, mainly because he spends less and less time with me recently. It used to be once every 2 weeks, but now it's once every 3 weeks. There are even many girls in our class who like him. I'm really more and more afraid that he will be." Han Wenwen smiled and listened to her bestie's complaints, thinking that He Qing really likes Lin Zhengren. She has always been timid, but she has been trying to take the initiative. However, Han Wenwen looked out the window, and it was unknown what she was thinking in her fox eyes. Soon it was the weekend again. This week was the week that Lin Zhengren would not accompany her or Zhang Zuli in the 3 weeks that Little He Qing said. "I don't know what he is going to do." On Saturday morning, the four of them gathered together. And Lin Zhengren walked home with his school bag. "I won't accompany you two this week. You two can practice on your own, or you can treat it as a rest week." Zhang Zuli looked at Lin Zhengren's leaving figure and was very curious. "What is the big fool busy with recently? Did you accompany him every 2 weeks before? Now it's 3 weeks. It has been like this since the last summer vacation." She turned to He Qing and asked, "He Qing, do you know what the big fool is doing recently?" Little He Qing shook her head. It would be great if she knew. It was because she didn't know that she came up with a big move. Otherwise, if she didn't express her feelings again, it would be once every 4 weeks, and she might not even see him in the future. "I don't know, and I didn't dare to ask him." Zhang Zuli let out a long sigh. She did ask in a proud way, but that kind of a questioning didn't get her to answer anything. She waved to the two of them and said, I'm going home too. See you next week, He Qing and Han Wenwen. Han Wenwen and He Qing waved goodbye to her. After Zhang Zuli left, He Qing asked Han Wenwen, Wenwen, are you going to make videos this week? He Qing knew about Han Wenwen's video of games, and Little Fox told her about it as soon as school started. As a good friend, He Qing probably knew Han Wenwen's financial and family situation. So she never disturbed her from working to make money. Han Wenwen smiled and said, well, I have to shoot a few more this week, so I won't be able to accompany Xiao Qingqing in the dormitory during the day. It's okay, but I didn't ask before, Wenwen, where do you shoot videos? Internet cafes? But we are not yet adults, so we can't go in there, right? And I always feel that internet cafes are scary places. No, my uncle rented me a house, and I use it specifically for shooting videos. When I'm not busy, I can take Xiao Qingqing to visit. Xiao Qingqing was surprised, so you rented a house. Okay, then take me to see it when you are not busy. Han Wenwen nodded and said no problem, and said goodbye to He Qing. Then I'm leaving too. Xiao Qingqing, be good in the dormitory. See you tonight. Well, Wenwen, see you tonight. Han Wenwen waved goodbye to her. Secretly went to meet Lin Sehengren in the rental house. Thanks to the big boss of So Silent for the reward of 588 starting coins. Thanks to all the big bosses for voting for the monthly tickets. Still add a small half chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55, The Magic Cult's Top Secret Technique, Golden Snake Bone Wrapping Hand. A semester has passed since the fever incident. Now Han Wenwen finally has some spare money after watching several months of game videos. After deducting food and drink, she still has more than 8,000 yuan left. Every time she sees this balance in her account, she sighs. She sighs that if she had known that Lin Sehengren was so good, she should have asked him to teach her earlier. On the street of the electronic city in the small town, Lin Sehengren and Han Wenwen entered a store specializing in selling electronic products. They were going to buy computers today. While choosing, the system sound rang as usual. Since you signed the contract with a demon cult witch, you taught her the inner skills and greatly improved her cultivation. She also often gave you feedback with the methods and medicine she learned from the demon cult, helping you to further improve your cultivation. Today, because she lacks a suitable weapon, you accompany her to the weapon shop to choose. After choosing the right weapon, she may give back to you in some way. But there is another thing you are curious about, because you found that the demon cult witch seems to have something in her heart in recent days, and this matter seems to be related to you. Lin Sehengren glanced at Han Wenwen beside him, but did not speak. Instead, he opened the panel again and took a look. Your current spiritual energy level is 42nd level. Your current attributes are Strength 47. When the value reaches 50, you can obtain the special ability of muscles that exist even without exercise. Energy 42. When the value reaches 60, you can obtain the special ability of 7 times a night without fatigue. Stamina 51. When the value reaches 70, you can obtain the special ability of double physical strength and 3 times the endurance of doing things. Charm 45. You have unlocked the double favorability ability. There has been no major improvement in the level in the past 6 months, because neither Xiao Qingqing nor Zhang Zuli has any major events, but Lin Sehengren has already confirmed the date recently. In a few months, both He Qing and Zhang Zuli will have a very important competition and program. The spiritual energy cultivation should be able to rise sharply by several levels, and may even reach the edge of level 50. Welcome, what are you buying? The two walked into the Computer City store. Lin Sehengren said he wanted to buy a computer and told the boss about the hardware models of some computer hosts. After the boss took out some things, Lin Sehengren picked out a few accessories and put them aside. The boss looked at him, and he looked up at the boss. The two suddenly laughed. Lin Sehengren, boss, how about replacing these parts? The boss exclaimed, all of these are new. He took the second-hand hardware away. Okay, I'll replace a few for you. He gave the real new parts to Lin Sehengren. There are not many people who know how to buy computer parts, But even if there are occasionally people like Lin Sehengren who are proficient, it's normal. At most, they will make less money. Han Wenwen also saw the clues. The little fox with high emotional intelligence naturally knew these things. She whispered to Lin Sehengren, "Student Lin Sehengren also knows computers, I know a little." She clapped her hands in admiration. "Great. Student Lin Sehengren knows everything," she said in his ear in a voice that only the two of them could hear. "Otherwise you will get ripped off again." Lin Sehengren was used to her flattering look, and didn't say much. "The host I picked for you costs about 4,000 yuan, which is more than enough for recording videos. Even if you want to do live broadcasts later, it can still be used for a while. If you think the live broadcast is slow to respond, you can change to a more expensive one." The computer store owner looked at the brand new accessories with heartache, and sighed inadvertently. "Little sister, to be honest, your friend is amazing. He picked out the best accessories of the same model, and I can't make any profit at all." Lin Sehengren thought to himself that it would be weird if he didn't make any profit. If he wasn't afraid that the ones he bought online might not be brand new, Lin Sehengren would not have spent more money to come to the physical store to choose for himself. Han Wenwen smiled when she heard this. "He is quite good." Seeing that Lin Sehengren was already watching the boss assembling the computer case, Han Wenwen blushed slightly, thinking that every time they went shopping like this, they really looked like a couple. Seeing her staring at him, Lin Sehengren asked, "What's wrong? Do you want to buy anything else?" Han Wenwen smiled. "No." The two took a taxi back and assembled the desktop computer and the external accessories they had bought before in the rental house. The moment it was officially turned on, Han Wenwen was very happy. "It's turned on. I finally have my first computer in my life." The little fox was very grateful to Lin Sehengren. "This is all thanks to classmate Lin Sehengren." Lin Sehengren asked her to try to record a video while playing, and Han Wenwen quickly tried it, and it was very smooth. Taking advantage of the novelty of buying a computer, Han Wenwen played several games in a row and recorded the video. Lin Sehengren took off his coat and lay on her bed to browse her video account. In a few months, Han Wenwen's fans have reached more than 40,000, and the speed of increasing fans is very fast. As for the income, it is sometimes high and sometimes low because of the instability of video shooting. But even so, she has earned more than 10,000 yuan in the past few months, far more than her previous part-time job that did not make money day and night. With these fans, you can do a few days of live broadcasting during the winter vacation this year, and the fans should be able to increase by about double by then. After saying that, he saw Han Wenwen coming. The little fox was half squatting on the ground, and his upper body was lying on his legs. Lin Sehengren had a blank expression. "Why are you lying on my legs?" Han Wenwen stared at him with fox eyes. "If classmate Lin Sehengren was not here, I don't know how much more money I would have to spend to buy a computer today. How can I thank classmate Lin Sehengren?" Lin Sehengren bent one leg, and Han Wenwen couldn't lie down. "Let me think about it." Han Wenwen took off her shoes and climbed onto the bed, sitting diagonally beside him. Because the two often stayed in the rental house during the summer vacation, they didn't feel unfamiliar even if they were alone. Lin Sehengren thought that eating was the simplest reward, but it didn't make sense, because he had asked Han Wenwen to treat him too many times before the hot pot. Even the best things have drug resistance. The system has long reminded us that eating hot pot can only improve our cultivation level to a very small extent. Han Wenwen suddenly suggested gently, "How about I give Lin Sehengren a massage? I have recently learned it online and asked He Qing for advice, the top-level technique that the women of the demon cult do not pass on to others, the golden snake bone wrapping hand. Although this technique cannot improve the level of cultivation, it can increase multiple attributes at the same time. It is one of the most popular techniques for those who kill enemies above their level and pretend to be pigs and eat tigers. However, because this technique can only be used on others, even the people of the demon cult are very few who are proficient in it." Massage is said in such a high-sounding way. But why didn't the system say anything when He Qing gave him a massage before? Could it be that Han Wenwen's massage is different? Lin Sehengren asked. "Massage? Why did you learn this?" Han Wenwen blinked her fox eyes and said charmingly, "If you learn it, you can give Lin Sehengren a massage." Why else? Lin Sehengren felt that this reason was as good as nothing. Han Wenwen tilted her head and smiled. "The main thing is that massage doesn't cost money, otherwise I would feel bad every time I treat Lin Sehengren to dinner. If I give a massage, Lin Sehengren will feel comfortable, and I can save money." He lay flat on the bed, not caring about the reason. "Okay, I'm a little tired, You can massage. I'll take a nap, Han Wenwen asked. Do you want to rest your head on my legs? It will be more convenient for me to massage. No, this is fine. She took Lin Suhengren's hand with some disappointment, stroked his fingers one by one, and slowly rubbed his palm. Then she knelt beside his head and rubbed his forehead and temples with her hands. Lin Suhengren opened his eyes in surprise to see her movements, which were really much more comfortable than He Qing's massage. Because that stupid girl's massage was very light, as if she didn't dare to touch herself, but Han Wenwen's strength and technique made people feel very comfortable. Han Wenwen asked, "What's wrong? Is the force light or heavy?" "It's okay, it's fine," Han Wenwen explained. "I saw on the internet that massaging the temples can help people sleep better. Lin Suhengren can try it." He closed his eyes and fell asleep in the state very quickly. I don't know how long it took, but there was the sound of vehicles passing by on the streets in the community. Han Wenwen looked down at him sleeping, and her hands gradually slowed down. Her face was already flushed, and she muttered to herself as if to someone, "This is the reason for the massage." She slowly leaned down, and with a very nervous hand, she held a long hair that might fall down by her ears, and kissed him gently on the forehead. After a while, they slowly separated, and looked at him affectionately and muttered to herself, "If I still had doubts before, now I am sure that I really like you completely." Lin Suhengren newcomer and new book, daily asking for follow-up reading and votes. Still out a half chapter for the big guys who voted. Chapter 56 Scarf. In return for choosing your weapon, the demon girl used her unique secret method on you. You gain 1 more strength, 1 more energy, and 1 more physical strength. It's just that the demon girl seems to be paying more and more attention to you. I don't know if this is an opportunity or something else for you. In the afternoon, Lin Suhengren woke up comfortably on the bed. Han Wenwen had finished her massage and lay beside Lin Suhengren. She stared at Lin Suhengren's sleeping features with the deep affection of a young girl. When Lin Suhengren opened his eyes and turned his head, she returned to her usual appearance and greeted him with a smile. "Student Lin Suhengren, have you woken up?" the former asked curiously. "What time is it? Didn't you sleep?" "I just woke up too." Han Wenwen took out her mobile phone. "It's more than 3 o'clock in the afternoon." "How did student Lin Suhengren sleep this time?" "Don't mention it, it's really good." Sighing that he slept long enough, Han the little fox still has some skills. After packing up a little, Lin Suhengren and Han Wenwen left the rental house and went downstairs. Lin Suhengren thought of what the system had said before. He had indeed noticed that Han Wenwen was a little different these days. "You and He Qing have come up with some bad ideas recently, haven't you?" Han Wenwen wanted to laugh at his sudden words. She covered her mouth and followed him. Lin Suhengren really knows everything. He Qing really needs to make a big move recently. Big move? He really didn't know what that silly girl was brainstorming every day. What big move? Han Wenwen held her hair by her ears with her hands and looked at her meaningfully. "I can't tell Lin Suhengren what it is specifically, but it's a very courageous action." Lin Suhengren thought it was outrageous when he thought of the previous things. The little fox waved goodbye to Lin Suhengren at the gate of the community. "Then I will go back to school to accompany He Qing." "Lin Suhengren, take your time on the way home," Lin Suhengren responded, said "you too," and turned to leave. Han Wenwen waved her hands for a long time, and then her cheeks flushed as she looked at Lin Suhengren's gradually receding back, and her bent fingers gently touched her red lips. Also turned around and went to school. In recent days, He Qing has been selecting scarf yarn online. She and Han Wenwen spent a long time choosing the color and style. In the end, the two besties thought that gray was the best, which was quite suitable for the style of a certain guy. A few days later, the scarf yarn that He Qing bought online finally arrived. She held the express box as if she was going through an epic battle. The bed in the dormitory was full of balls of yarn and knitting needles for scarves. Han Wenwen was stunned while sitting on the bed. So many things. He Qing looked at the guide in a hurry, counting all kinds of things, and said in a panic, "I don't know, I thought there were only yarn and needles, but I didn't expect so many accessories." While speaking, the ball of yarn fell to the ground and rolled out. He Qing hurriedly got out of bed to chase it, and the more she was busy, the more chaotic it became. "Why did it fall to the ground?" quickly patted the dust off the yarn. Han Wenwen was amused by her cute appearance. She picked up the instruction manual and read it until she saw the last sentence and murmured, "If you take an hour every day, you can finish knitting in about 1.5 months." Han Wenwen was surprised. "It takes a long time. Aren't we all going to have winter vacation in 1.5 months?" Little He Qing returned to the bed with a pile of scattered wool. She was so busy just unpacking it. It's okay. I calculated it before. As long as I can take 2 hours every day, plus Saturdays and Sundays, it will take less than half a month to knit. Otherwise, the scarf will be useless when I come back from winter vacation. Han Wenwen hugged her thighs. Xiao Qing is really working hard to confess her love. Little He Qing lowered her head shyly. So starting from today, Xiao Qing really began to take as much time as possible to study needlework, especially at night and on Saturdays and Sundays without Lin Sihengren. It was the best time for Xiao Qing to speed up her progress. She would secretly hide in the quilt and knit the confession gift bit by bit. In fact, Xiao Qing is not very good at needlework. Even Han Wenwen had learned it at the beginning, but little He Qing's mind was sometimes confused, and she regretted looking at the instructions. Why did I weave this thread the wrong way again? I have to unwrap it and do it again, but practice makes perfect, and she gradually became more and more proficient. It was just that as the price of familiarity, it seemed that there was not enough time, because many times when Han Wenwen turned off the lights and went to the bathroom or got up in the morning, she would find He Qing hiding in the quilt and knitting non-stop. She whispered, "Xiao Qing, why are you still knitting?" Little He Qing was startled when the quilt was lifted, and she was relieved to see that it was Han Wenwen and smiled. "I just wanted to finish it as soon as possible." After that, she began to stare at the needle and thread seriously. Occasionally, she would feel sleepy while knitting, but at this time she would quickly pat her face and encourage herself, "I can't fall asleep, otherwise there won't be enough time." The little fox sighed that she was really serious, and she must like Lin Sihengren very much to do it. This Saturday was the day when Lin Sihengren accompanied little He Qing to practice taekwondo once every 3 weeks. In the taekwondo gym for minors, Lin Sihengren saw Xiao Qing training with a girl who was a few years older than her. They were punching and kicking each other. After fighting for a long time, Xiao Qing, who had always been invincible, was defeated again and again today, and was sweating profusely in just a few rounds. In the end, Lin Sihengren even found that one of her movements was not right. Sure enough, the next moment, she suddenly twisted her foot when she kicked hard. Xiao Qing screamed in pain and fell to the ground. Seeing this, Lin Sihengren and the coach beside him quickly got up and ran over. As the opponent, the big sister was also surprised that Xiao Qing, who was so powerful before, had something wrong with her recently. "Sister Qing, are you okay?" Xiao Qing, who was lying on the ground in pain, smiled awkwardly. She was mainly because she had not slept too much recently, and she was indeed a little overwhelmed. "It's okay, it's just a little mistake, don't worry, I can continue." She wanted to stand up, but Lin Sihengren, who ran over, squatted down and reminded her, "Don't move, let me see." Xiao Qing didn't dare to look at him. The coach also came to the ring to check the injury. Fortunately, the two found that Xiao Qing was only slightly injured. The coach breathed a sigh of relief but also advised, "You scared me, but you look very bad recently. You should rest for the next 2 days. When you leave the court, go to the back and apply some ointment for bruises and injuries." Little He Qing thought that it was not easy for Lin Sihengren to accompany her this week, so she couldn't rest, otherwise the next time he accompanied her would be the winter vacation in 3 weeks. She waved her hands, No, coach, I'm fine, I just stepped on the air for a while." As a result, the coach said concisely, "But your movements have been deformed since last week. This week, not only have your movements not recovered, but you have also started to get injured. You should rest for a while." "Okay, let your brother accompany you to change clothes and rest." Little He Qing was speechless. She timidly glanced at Lin Sihengren who was staring at her, and she didn't dare to look up in shame. Lin Sihengren accompanied Little He Qing to the backstage to take out the ointment. Little He Qing, wearing a snow-white taekwondo uniform, sat on a chair with her injured foot bare and didn't dare to speak, because she knew she would definitely be scolded. In fact, Lin Sihengren's tone was not serious, he just twisted the ointment and asked normally. But it was deafening to Little He Qing's ears. "What happened?" Little He Qing shrank her neck when she heard him speak, aggrieved. "No. I just kicked it too high by accident." Lin Sihengren looked at her curiously. "Kicked it too high? From the moment I saw you on stage this morning, I found that your condition was not right. Not only did you have no strength in all your movements, but your reaction speed also decreased a lot, especially that kick just now. You actually..." Little He Qing supported herself on the chair with her small hands, lowered her head and looked at her bare feet, pursed her lips, and looked like she was willing to be scolded. Lin's Hengren didn't continue to speak. Thinking of what Han Wenwen said a few days ago, he let out a long breath, wondering where this girl has been focusing her energy recently. Put your feet on my legs. Little He Qing was stunned for a moment, and turned her head. Lin's Hengren said word by word, I said you put your feet on my legs and I will apply the medicine for you. She was flattered and stretched out her hand. I can do it myself. I can do it myself. As a result, her little hand touched the box of ointment, but she found that Lin's Hengren did not let go. She looked up at him, not daring to look at him, and slowly withdrew her hands, clasping them tightly together. Like a frightened sparrow. Lin's Hengren ordered, hurry up. Little He Qing's body shuddered, turned around and put her feet on his legs obediently, with tears in her eyes. Don't be angry. Who said I was angry? Little He Qing felt that he was angry, so she could only whisper to comfort him, I know I was wrong. You can scold me as much as you want, just don't get angry with yourself. She secretly looked up. Just now I was distracted. I will be fine after a rest. In fact, there was another sentence behind it. Don't go back so early. Can you stay with me for a while? But she didn't dare to say these words. Lin's Hengren glanced at her speechlessly and went straight to the point. What are you doing recently? She blushed in surprise. Did he find out? What? Thanks to the big brother of Dream Traces Shallow for giving Wenwen 600 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother of Landuo for giving 100 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother of 160,531,203,111,850 for giving 100 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother of guarding the rivers and lakes alone for giving 100 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother of Kato Megumi falls in love with me for giving 500 starting coins. And thanks to the big brother who voted for the monthly ticket. This chapter is a big chapter of 3,000 words. Chapter 57 White Dove. Lin's Hengren knocked her head with his hand, and Little He Qing cried out and held her head with both hands. Lin's Hengren, do you think I'm stupid? In the past half-month, you often acted as if you haven't woken up yet, and every time you talk to me, you are sneaky. It's obvious that you are deliberately hiding something from me. No, she acted very guilty, but suddenly remembered that she had promised Lin's Hengren not to lie to him again, and hurriedly changed her words. Not that there is. Oh no, there is. Lin's Hengren saw that she was splitting personality, scraped off a little ointment and tried to spread it evenly on her ankle with his hands. The cold ointment and the touch of Lin's Hengren's palm made Little He Qing whimper instantly, and then shyly covered her mouth tightly. Her little face was flushed, and she didn't let herself make any sound. Lin's Hengren was curious. Does it hurt? She shook her head like a rattle and said in a muffled voice, it doesn't hurt. It won't hurt at all after applying the medicine, Lin's Hengren, but I haven't applied the medicine yet. Xiao Heking's heartbeat quickened, and her head turned rapidly, trying to think of reasons. Then it may be that I don't feel pain when you touch me, and I don't feel pain when you care about me. Lin's Hengren, he smeared the ointment all over the wound, and Xiao Heking pursed her lips with her hand blocking her mouth, and her face was so shy that it seemed that water could drip out. His hands are so big, and he looks so gentle. After applying it, Lin's Hengren wrapped a few more rounds of bandages. Rest well these 2 days, and you can take it off by yourself after a few days when you don't feel any pain at all. Okay. Xiao Heking slowly retracted her feet and stepped on her shoes again. Lin's Hengren was about to ask about what happened just now, but Xiao Heking finally chose to escape, covering her ears with both hands. She closed her eyes tightly. I told you before that I can't lie to you, but I can't tell you this right now. Can you ask me in a few days? I will tell you in a few days, I beg you. She waited for a long time without hearing Lin's Hengren's answer, then she secretly looked at her and whispered, as long as you don't ask, I can do anything for you. Okay. Lin's Hengren himself didn't care about this matter, and didn't ask any more questions. He just pried open her hands that were covering her ears. Let's change clothes and go? Huh? Oh, she quickly put on her shoes and got up to go to the locker room, but when she walked into the door, she turned around and grabbed the door frame to show her little head, and asked in a low voice, where are we going? Aren't you going home? So early. Her face was full of unhappiness. Lin's Hengren replied casually, you will know after you change clothes. I'll take you somewhere. Little He Qing nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. As long as he didn't go home, it didn't matter where she went with him. After a while, Xiao Heking changed into a sweater and jacket. Usually, Xiao Heking wore school uniform, but only when she met Lin Sehengren alone. She would change into a beautiful pink jacket and a slimming leg-exposing device. The two left the taekwondo gym and walked towards a road that Xiao Heqing had never walked on. Lin Sehengren asked her if her feet hurt. Little He Qing waved her hands back and forth. It doesn't hurt, it's really not that serious. There's a competition in town at the beginning of next year. I just asked my coach and he said you've signed up. Well, didn't you say that if there's a competition in town, I can just sign up? I'll definitely listen to you, and the coach also said that I've trained very well, so I signed up. By the way, I saw that the first place seemed to have a lot of prize money, several thousand yuan, she said happily. If I win the prize, I plan to give half to my mom, keep 100 yuan for snacks and Wenwen, and use the rest to buy things for you. She asked curiously, is there anything you want? I should be able to afford it by then. He turned to look at her. Little He Qing's height of 1.6 meters seemed to have not grown since last year. You are still quite confident. You got injured in training today, but you are already thinking about how to spend the championship prize money. Little He Qing clapped her hands rhythmically like a duck. So cute. I will definitely win. I haven't practiced much since I separated from you, but after you taught me for a year, I caught up immediately. With you around, I can do anything, so why were you lazy at the beginning? What were you doing at that time? She looked ahead and seemed to remember the 4 years since they separated. She answered subconsciously, I was thinking about you, thinking about when I could call you, and thinking about what you did every day. After she finished speaking, she realized what she was saying, covered her mouth and shook her head shyly. You didn't hear it. Lin Sehengren looked away speechlessly. The two came to the side of a high bridge. There was a small river under the bridge. Because the new year was approaching, the trees here had long been bare, leaving only slender and numerous branches on the trees occasionally swaying in the wind. Little He Qing was very confused as to why Lin Sehengren brought her here. What's here? Some time ago, I passed by here a few times while buying things. I found that every time around 11 o'clock in the morning, there would be some guys running over to drink water by the river. They look similar to you. Since you don't have training today, I brought you to see them. Little He Qing didn't understand. Blinking his silly eyes, he scratched his head. What guy looks similar to me? Lin Sehengren calculated the time and thought that they should be coming soon. Sure enough, after a while, he suddenly heard a familiar cry in the sky, turned his head and looked at the distant horizon. Sure enough, they're here. Little He Qing also vaguely heard the sound of cooing and flapping wings, and turned his head to look. Suddenly, he opened his eyes wide, and saw dozens of white pigeons flying neatly from somewhere in the sun. Occasionally, some feathers fell from the sky, and the snow-white one was like an angel's wings. Little He Qing stared blankly at the dozens of pigeons flying over his head and landing by the river, flapping their wings and drinking water by the river, cooing. Pigeons. So many. So many pigeons. It seems that there are more today than before. Lin Sehengren was also surprised. Little He Qing walked over carefully, but the pigeons seemed a little scared and ran away quickly. Little He Qing had to give up touching them, but turned her head, put her hands on her hips with open hands, leaned forward, bent over and jumped forward. She imitated the pigeons and cooed a few times. Some pigeons saw He Qing's movements and even imitated her to flap their wings and jump while walking. Little He Qing giggled. So cute. Lin Sehengren also smiled helplessly. He said that this stupid girl was very similar to these pigeons. Suddenly, Little He Qing stood up straight and looked at Lin Sehengren with a red face. Well, let's do it here next Saturday night. Can you come over? I have something to give you. Lin Sehengren was puzzled. The white dove behind Xiao Heqing flapped its wings and flew up at this moment. She clasped her hands in front of her chest, her eyes sparkling. The gift is very important, and I have something else to say to you. From today onwards, Xiao Heqing worked late into the night, focusing on her Weibo work at night, and strived to confess to him smoothly in a week. And just today, Zhang Zuli, who had twin ponytails, was chatting with a new girl from the Child Star studio in her bedroom at night. She was shocked when she heard what the other party said. You said you wanted to confess. Is it true? The other party said shyly but loudly on the phone. Yes. I have to confess. Didn't I tell you that I have a brother, and he has a childhood sweetheart who is so cute that she calls him every day, and my brother occasionally plays with him, and they play all day. Recently, I see that they are getting more and more wrong, especially the childhood sweetheart who is doing something big recently. What should I do if I don't confess? You know, if we don't take the initiative, there will be no future for people like us. Zhang Zuli's new friend is a little lolly with twin ponytails and golden hair in the sun. Like her, she is also at Sundeer. The data fluctuated a little in the past few days. New people and new books, daily requests for follow-up reading and votes, woo woo. Chapter 58, Best Friend's Confession. Early the next morning, Sunday, Zhang Zuli went to the door of the practice room of the Child Star Studio. Although the studio's singing equipment is quite professional, Zhang Zuli rarely comes here to sing. She usually either practices at home or asks Lin Sehengren to teach her. But even though she only came here occasionally, she hit it off with a blonde little girl named Liu Zinayu who also had twin ponytails. Liu Zinayu is a mixed-race girl who looks very different from others. Her eyes are a little blue and she is older than Zhang Zuli. But the two of them just looked at each other at first sight and knew that they were close friends. When they came to the practice room to meet each other, they found that the other party had been waiting for them. The blonde little girl was standing at the door in a floral dress. Unlike Zhang Zuli's low ponytail, hers was a high ponytail. "Lily, you're here." Liu Zinayu saw the person coming and walked quickly. Zhang Zuli met her. "Well, Zinayu, why did you suddenly hang up the phone last night?" Liu Zinayu said shyly. "My older brother came to my house yesterday, so I hung up the phone." "Let's go, I'll tell you in detail. I need your help today, otherwise I can't do it myself," Zhang Zuli responded, and the two left the practice room and went to the direction of the mall. Started to talk about the cause and effect. The girl named Liu Zinayu said, "I will go back to my country next week, so I want to confess to my neighbor's older brother who is in college before I leave. If he agrees, I will come back in half a year, but if he doesn't agree, I probably won't come again." Zhang Zuli knew that she was going abroad. Liu Zinayu said tangledly, "But I'm too nervous, because that older brother has a childhood sweetheart who has always liked him. Her name is He Qing. He Qing." "Why does Zhang Zuli feel a little strange?" Liu Zinayu said as she walked, "I actually didn't know that Big Brother had a childhood sweetheart before. I only found out after I entered junior high school. That girl was very cute because she had a lot of freckles on her face, and she has always liked Big Brother. Recently, I found out that she and her best friend were planning something big, and I suspect they were going to confess their love to Big Brother." Zhang Zuli blinked, and suddenly thought that maybe He Qing and Han Wenwen had been acting a little weird recently, as if they were planning something. Liu Zinayu continued to describe, "I think Big Brother still likes her a little bit, and occasionally he will take time to accompany her. So if she really wants to confess, maybe Big Brother will agree, and then I won't have a chance." She lowered her head and struggled. "I have been hesitant before. I know that I am very arrogant, so I dare not say anything directly. But since I heard you say last time that you took the initiative to talk to the boy you like about going to the movies, I think I should take the initiative too. Only initiative can get results." Zhang Zuli saw Liu Zinayu always upset about love, so she briefly talked about her only glorious achievement to give her confidence. Unexpectedly, she has been using it as a role model since then. Zhang Zuli said with a little embarrassment, "I understand, Zinayu, I support you unconditionally. Then when do you plan to confess?" "Tonight, today." "So urgent." "Well, today is Big Brother's birthday, so I thought of asking you to help me. Go with me to buy some flowers, candles and balloons, and then witness that arrogant people can be happy at night. Witness this historic moment." It was on fire. Zhang Zuli nodded without hesitation. It was the first time for her to help someone create a confession scene. "Okay, let's go now." The two besties went to the mall to buy a lot of things for confession. Liu Zinayu kept saying that she had never done this before. Because of her arrogant personality, she gave the opportunity to He Qing many times. Zhang Zuli felt an inexplicable sense of déjà vu. The two of them took the things they bought and chose a place. Finally, they chose a flower bed in a park where there were not many people. They put everything in order. Blow up the balloons, tie the strings, press the strings with stones, and arrange the candles into the shape of a heart. Sprinkle rose petals in the middle. It was already half the afternoon just to finish these things. The days are short in winter, so it gets dark quickly. Liu Zinayu took a large bouquet of flowers and took a few deep breaths. Under the candlelight, he mustered up the courage to say to Zhang Zuli, "Then I'll call, I will succeed, right?" Zhang Zuli nodded, "Yes, you can do it." Liu Zinayu excitedly took out her mobile phone and found the Big Brother's phone number, but when she was about to press it, her face became more and more shy. "Can I really do it?" I have never taken the initiative to do these things. Zhang Zuli was also a little nervous by her. You can do it, come on, Xinyu. Liu Xinyu wanted to put her hand on the dial button again, but immediately waved her fist. No, I'm not ready yet. Can I really do it? How can I ask him out when the time comes? Zhang Zuli knew that the character of that tsundere was like this, so she was not impatient and kept comforting him. Just say it directly. Come on, can I really do it? Yes. Liu Xinyu looked at her best friend, clenched her fist, closed her eyes and shouted as if to encourage herself. You are right, I can do it. Yes, Zhang Zuli cheered. Liu Xinyu continued to shout, I can do it. Zhang Zuli continued to cheer, you can do it. Yes. They didn't know how long they were in this tangle and hesitation, and suddenly a passerby came over, which made them embarrassed. The passerby said, Huh? You guys want to confess too? It's a coincidence today. There are usually not many people in this park. I didn't expect that there would be 2 confessions today. Zhang Zuli and Liu Xinyu looked at each other and asked curiously, there are more confessions? The passerby hummed and pointed to the distance. It's over there. A little girl seems to be confessing to her childhood sweetheart brother, and the other party agreed. If I hadn't gone home for dinner, I would definitely watch it for a while. Liu Xinyu was curious. Really? She looked at Zhang Zuli hesitantly, and laughed. Lily, why don't we go and see how others confess? Learn? Maybe I won't be entangled after learning. Zhang Zuli thought it was okay, so she walked over with Liu Xinyu. When I came to the scene of someone else's confession, I found that there were already quite a few people watching, and the scene of the heroine's confession was very simple. There was only a candle on the ground and a bouquet of flowers in her hand. The girl who confessed was a little girl wearing a white dress and her face was full of freckles. Although she was not very pretty, she was still cute. The hero was very tall. As for her appearance and temperament, Zhang Zuli felt that she was not as handsome as a big fool. The cute girl was very excited holding the flowers. Do you really agree to be with me? The boy had a gentle expression and nodded shyly. Of course, since the girl has confessed, how can I not agree? The cute girl said word by word, I like you. The boy also said word by word, I like you too. The audience in groups of 3 or 2 began to applaud and joked. Kiss one. The 2 shyly came together and kissed each other. Zhang Zuli felt too shy to watch, and smiled and said to Liu Xinyu, Xinyu, you see, it's still very simple, just say that you like him, then, why are you crying? She didn't notice that Liu Xinyu had been dazed since the beginning, looking at the 2 of them with trembling eyes, and the flowers in her hand fell to the ground. Her heart was broken into pieces. Big brother, my big brother. She looked at the big brother she liked and her childhood sweetheart kissing, tears streaming down her face. No, there was a power outage today, and this is a saved draft, so it will be updated early in the afternoon, at 2 o'clock. Chapter 59 The 3 Active People. Beside the flower bed with heart-shaped candles, Liu Xinyu hugged Zhang Zuli and cried loudly. The cold wind slapped her face. Zhang Zuli kept comforting her, but she remembered that the so-called big brother kissed the girl who confessed for 5 minutes. She couldn't imagine how much hurt Liu Xinyu would suffer, especially since she stood there and watched it all. Xinyu, don't cry, be strong. Liu Xinyu sobbed with tears, and her voice was choked, intermittent. I have liked the big brother for so many years. I liked him when I was abroad. I followed him because he came to study in China. In the end, I didn't expect that I still lost in the end, and lost so badly. Liu Xinyu learned her lesson and looked at the other party with regret. If I had known earlier, I should have called her earlier. I had obviously noticed that she had made big moves recently and showed signs of confessing her love, but I was still hesitant, and even didn't notice it at the beginning. Lily, you must learn from my mistakes. Don't underestimate your rival in love, Zhang Zuli exclaimed, wondering why he was talking about her. But the next moment she suddenly realized. He Qing and Han Wenwen seemed to be busy with something recently. But it can't be. She comforted her best friend for a long time, until that night Zhang Zuli had a similar dream. In the dream, petals were falling from the sky, and the surrounding environment was a very beautiful park. There was a flower bed in the park, and there were heart-shaped candles in front of the flower bed, surrounded by people. He Qing, wearing a white dress, stood in the middle of the heart-shaped candles with a handsome big fool. Han Wenwen smiled and cheered for her best friend, while Zhang Zuli herself stood in the distance. He Qing held the bouquet and spoke slowly, I like you. Lin's Hengren, can you be with me? Lin's Hengren's eyes were deep. Of course, although I preferred sundeers to you, but since you confessed first, then I will be with you, He Qing said excitedly. Really? That's great, Han Wenwen clapped on the side. Congratulations to Xiao Qingqing for her successful confession. The onlookers cheered. Kiss. 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 In the dream, Lin's Hengren hooked He Qing's chin with his hand, and Xiao He Qing closed her eyes. The lips of the two gradually moved together, getting closer and closer. At 12 o'clock in the morning, she suddenly sat up from the bed, wearing pajamas and blushing in fear. Ah! What kind of dream is this? This strange dream kept Zhang Zuli awake all night. The next morning Zhang Zuli came to school. Before class, she looked back at Xiao He Qing, who was obediently massaging her fingers in her seat. While massaging, the other person suddenly put his fingers in his mouth, and opened the textbook for the next class with his other hand. The cute face looked a little bulging because of biting her fingers. Although she was a love rival, Zhang Zuli didn't need to admit it because of her sweet and lovely appearance. So cute, she just remembered the dream last night and felt a little scared. She won't really confess her feelings. What if that happens? At this time, she heard the girls around her talking. Have you heard about it? A new zoo has opened in the city recently? I heard that there are many rare animals. Do you want to go? I heard about it too. I asked people for a lot of flyers. I really want to go. I heard there are big pythons. That would be so scary. I want to go even more. Give me one. The girls in the classroom were chatting with a zoo flyer. Zhang Zuli curiously leaned over to take a look. She found that there were close-up pictures of tigers, lions and peacocks on the flyer. Her eyes were shining and she was a little moved. Zoo? There is a zoo in our city. I have never been to a zoo. Subconsciously, she wanted to find Lin's Hengren to go with her, just in time to dispel the outrageous dream last night. She looked at the ticket price, 80 yuan per ticket, thinking it was not too expensive because she still had some New Year's money from last year, which was enough to buy 2 tickets. So for the next 2 days, every time Zhang Zuli was alone, she began to rehearse against the wall how to invite Lin's Hengren to the zoo. 2 days later, the second period on Thursday afternoon was math class. When the class was about to end, the teacher sat on the podium in the classroom of Class 1 and asked everyone to study and discuss on their own. Lin's Hengren examined the mock test paper that Han Wenwen had just taken today, which scored more than 70 points. He marked the wrong questions. The solution methods for these questions are similar to what I said last time. It's very simple as long as you sort out the solution ideas. Han Wenwen did not answer, but lazily lay on the table like a fox to admire Lin's Hengren's profile. Lin's Hengren looked at her speechlessly. Han Wenwen, did you hear what I said? Han Wenwen hummed, I heard it, but I didn't quite understand it. Can classmate Lin's Hengren say it again? She just wanted to hear Lin's Hengren's voice. Lin's Hengren rolled the test paper into a stick and hid her head. Han Wenwen cooperated with him and uttered a small wow. She felt wronged and complained, Lin's Hengren is so bad, I've told you 3 times that you are deaf, right? Try to do it yourself, it will be done in 1 minute. Putting the test paper on her face, Han Wenwen was about to get up to solve the problem when she heard the sound of other classes being dismissed. Zhang Zuli secretly looked at the first class at the back of the classroom. Han Wenwen blinked her fox eyes, slowly sat up and said to Lin's Hengren with a smile, Lin's Hengren, I will do this math problem in the evening study, otherwise you won't have time to see it after I do it. She guided Lin's Hengren to look at the back door, because Zhang Zuli seems to have something to tell you. Lin's Hengren turned his head and looked at Zhang Zuli, who was secretly looking at him at the door. Zhang Zuli blushed and turned her head to blow a silent whistle pretending to pass by, but in fact she had been lingering at the back door. Lin's Hengren was curious about why this guy came to find him during the break. The teacher announced the end of get out of class. Han Wenwen walked out of the classroom 1 step ahead of time and looked at Zhang Zuli, who was pretending to whistle at the back door, smiling meaningfully. It's such a nice day today. Zhang Zuli glanced at her shyly, watching her go to the women's toilet. Lin's Hengren walked out of the classroom and asked curiously, do you have something to talk to me about? Zhang Zuli stood up immediately when she heard someone's voice, and blurted out subconsciously with her hands behind her back, what do you mean? Nothing, I'm just passing by, just passing by. Lin's Hengren also wanted to go to the toilet. As a result, Zhang Zuli suddenly called him, clenched her hands slightly behind her back, blushed and stammered, big idiot, don't forget to practice singing with me this Saturday. I practiced with He Qing last week, And it's my turn this week, Lin's Hengren hummed. I know, I'll go directly to your house to find you on Saturday. Zhang Zuli laughed. Okay. You must come on Saturday, I'll wait for you at home, and I will tell you something then. Something, she answered a little late. Ah, you heard it wrong, nothing, nothing. I said I was just passing by and jumped away. There were beads of sweat on Lin's Hengren's forehead. When he came out of the bathroom, Han Wenwen was already standing outside the sink, obviously waiting for him. Han Wenwen handed him 2 tissues. Wipe your hands. Chapter 60. Han Wenwen joins. The little fox behaved like a big boss's secretary, and she had done so more than once or twice recently. However, this enthusiastic act of handing over tissues often caused some boys to be jealous and girls to talk about it. But Han Wenwen obviously didn't care about this. Lin's Hengren thanked him and took the tissue. After using it, he threw it into the trash can and went back to the classroom with Han Wenwen. Golden silk handkerchief of the demon cult. After using it 100 times, you gain 1 more physical strength. Han Wenwen asked curiously. What did classmate Zhang Zuli talk to you about just now? Nothing. Han Wenwen looked away, looking jealous. She was complaining in a low voice, but she happened to speak in a voice that Lin's Hengren could hear. It's okay if you don't tell me, I don't want to know. Lin's Hengren was speechless. She secretly looked at Lin's Hengren and smiled suddenly. Did classmate Lin's Hengren feel it? It seems that something is coming, and it's not a small matter. Lin's Hengren looked at Han Wenwen, who was just watching the fun, as if she had already known some answers in advance, and ignored her. Han Wenwen stopped and looked at Lin's Hengren, who walked into the classroom, muttering to herself unhappily. Lin's Hengren is so aloof. She looked at Zhang Zuli at the door of class 3. Zhang Zuli was talking to someone at the moment, with a happy and doubtful look on her face. Han Wenwen probably understood why she came to see Lin's Hengren. The fox blinked meaningfully. It seems that I can't just sit there and wait for death. That night, Xiao He Qing continued to work in the quilt with knitting needles and wool balls until after 1 in the morning. Finally, after knitting the last piece of the scarf, she smiled with surprise and looked at the delicate, warm and slender scarf in her hand. It's done. Saturday finally came. Today is very bright, which seems to mean a good day to do big things. Zhang Zuli and Lin's Hengren took the bus back home in the morning and said goodbye at the intersection. Big idiot, come over quickly after you put down your things. Lin's Hengren raised his hand as a response. Zhang Zuli smiled, and immediately returned home, threw her school bag on the sofa, went to the bathroom to take a shower, brush her teeth, wash her hair, cut her nails, etc. In the past, when Lin's Hengren accompanied her, Zhang Zuli would do this kind of thing. Even the parents who were not at home seemed to be accustomed to this matter, and they also left a note for their daughter kindly. Lily, Mom and Dad are not at home today. You take this money to buy food. If Ranran comes, you can buy more things to share with him. Zhang Zuli took a bath and wrapped herself in a bath towel. There were still some water drops on her snow-white and tender shoulders. Seeing the note and money left by her parents by the sink, she smiled and put them aside. After blowing her hair, she began to choose nice clothes in the closet. In the end, she chose a warm pink sweater, a pleated skirt, and the girl's favorite bare leg artifact. Looking left and right in the mirror, she felt very good, and her double ponytail swung. Looking at the time, the big fool should be here soon. She lay on the bed and began to search for promotional pictures of the zoo that had just opened in the city. Big brain tiger, with lion, little bear. The more she watched, the more excited she became. And she became more and more nervous about inviting Lin's Hengren to the zoo. As she watched, she suddenly thought of He Qing and murmured to herself, by the way, if He Qing really wants to confess to him recently, can I just invite him to the zoo? She put down her phone, grabbed the new quilt that her mother had changed a long time ago and buried her face in it. No? After all, she thought of some of the things he had said before and blushed. Didn't he tell me that he wanted me to follow him forever? Doesn't that mean he would marry me when he grows up? The big fool always keeps his word. She shyly pounded the quilt. How shameful. I really don't know how he could say such things to a girl. How can he be so shameless? Zhang Zuli said to herself. Think about it, only I can agree to him. Who else would marry him and give birth to his children when they grow up? The doorbell rang, and Zhang Zuli sat up from the bed. She got out of bed happily after confirming that someone rang the doorbell. She quickly tidied her clothes and hair, and checked whether the pleated skirt on her buttocks was wrinkled. After confirming that it was correct, she ran over. I'm here. You came so quickly, you idiot. I just changed my clothes. After opening the door, Linz Hengren walked in with ease. There was a pair of men's slippers at the door specially prepared for him. It was like returning to his own home. Linz Hengren knocked her head. You have a split personality, right? Did you ask me to come quickly? Our uncle and aunt here. Thank you for the 1,000 starting coins rewarded by the big boss of Persian Cat and Snail House. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by the big boss of 1,608,270,947,525. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by the big boss of Innocent Children. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by the big boss of Moon Under Penglay. Thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by the big boss of Shianji Tailcat. Thanks to the boss of Slap Your Face for the 100 Kidian coins. Thanks to all the bosses for the monthly tickets. I hope you will read it every day. If everything goes well, it will be on the small trumpet next week. Chapter 61 The Same Confession Time. Zhang Zuli covered her head and answered him first. I went to work. Who else has split personality? Linz Hengren went to the bedroom. Zhang Zuli followed him and smoothed her freshly washed ponytails with her hands. Linz Hengren sat on the bed and said, I checked the video updates of the Child Star Studio a few days ago. Are you going to hold a competition in the town next summer? Zhang Zuli hummed and sat beside her. The people in the studio said that anyone who has time can sign up. Almost everyone has signed up, but I haven't signed up yet. Zhang Zuli blushed and said proudly, I don't think I'm not good enough. My level is very strong in the studio. I just wondered what if someone is unhappy if I sign up without permission, she complained. After all, a big idiot helped me get to where I am now. If I do whatever I want, you will definitely say that I have grown wings and do whatever I want. I have to ask for your opinion, right? Linz Hengren saw that she didn't know how to lie at all. Really? Zhang Zuli felt guilty when Linz Hengren saw her, and she retorted angrily, what else? Do you think I have to have you accompany me? I can do anything by myself. If you think so, I'll call them now and tell them that I want to sign up. Linz Hengren was curious. Then I don't have to go. Zhang Zuli was stunned for a moment, and her originally proud face stopped there, a little scared, of course, but you really don't want to go. She stretched out her finger and stammered, actually, the scenery where we are going is very beautiful. You can also see the scenery when you go there, because you know me. At that time, I can arrange for you in the first row. Others can't even sit there. I can even waive your travel expenses. Oh, Linz Hengren expressionlessly. But I'm not interested in the scenery. Zhang Zuli looked at him blankly, and suddenly gritted her teeth, closed her eyes, and hit Linz Hengren with her little fist. Why not go? Why not go? What's the harm in you going there? It won't cost you a piece of meat. Linz Hengren looked at her speechlessly, hitting people all day long as if it was tickling. Just kidding. This is your first large-scale performance. How could I not go? After all, I have trained you to this day. You are my person. How can I just ignore you? Zhang Zuli felt that this was very strange. What does it mean to be his person? It's just like saying that she is his woman, his wife. Zhang Zuli looked away shyly. Her forehead was smoking, pretending to be angry, but actually she was so happy that she wanted to dance with her twin ponytails, and stroked her hair slightly. What a mess. You can go or not, who cares? She said the last two sentences in a very low voice, for fear that Linz Hengren would hear her and say she would not go again. Linz Hengren yawned while lying on the bed. By the way, didn't you say you had something to talk to me about at school last time? What was it? Me. She blushed and stammered. Did I say that? I didn't say that, did I? Linz Hengren didn't bother to pay attention to her. Nothing. Then start practicing the song. I'll take a nap and have an early sleep. Zhang Zuli turned her head and saw that he had closed his eyes, and complained. You really treat my place as a hotel, as if this is your bed. Don't worry. If you sing wrong, I will wake up and remind you even if I fall asleep. He covered the quilt and stopped talking. Zhang Zuli got up to get the guitar. While practicing the song, looking at the very quiet Linz Hengren, Zhang Zuli wondered why she hadn't spoken yet. It would be best to invite him now, and he should agree. He will definitely agree. Hesitant, Zhang Zuli opened her lips slightly. At this time, the phone at home suddenly rang. Zhang Zuli stopped playing the guitar to answer the phone, and Linz Hengren also opened his eyes to look at her. Zhang Zuli saw that it was her mother calling. Hello? Mom, her mother said on the phone. Lily, your grandma seems to miss you and came here by car. I will pick her up at the station later. You wait at home, Can you accompany your grandma in the afternoon? Zhang Zuli exclaimed, and glanced at Lin Suhengren, who was lying on the bed. My grandma's here? Okay, I get it. Do you want me to go and pick her up? No, your grandma is so bold. Ever since I called her last time and told her that you were learning to sing, she has missed you so much and wanted to see you no matter what. Who knew that she would come by car today at such an old age? Forget it, you can come too, just take the car to find me, okay, Mom? After hanging up the phone, Zhang Zuli saw Lin Suhengren, who had already stood up. You big idiot, I may not be able to practice today. My grandma is coming in the afternoon, and I have to go find my mom now. Lin Suhengren hummed and got out of bed. I heard you, then let's practice tomorrow? You can chat with your grandma in the afternoon. Anyway, the competition is next year, there is no rush. He went to the living room in his slippers, and Zhang Zuli followed him. Are you leaving? Lin Suhengren hummed. Aren't you going out to see your aunt? Zhang Zuli pursed her lips. Then wait for me to go downstairs together. With the experience of the last time, she didn't hesitate this time, but delayed a little when she went downstairs with Lin Suhengren. At the entrance of the corridor, she said directly, that big idiot, can you come out in the afternoon? I have something for you. Afternoon? He remembered that He Qing asked him to meet there at 5 o'clock and also wanted to give him something. Zhang Zuli, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, there is often a place with pigeons under the small bridge next to the park. I said it. I said it again. I'm so awesome. She suddenly shouted deafeningly, big idiot, you must go at 5 o'clock. I'll find you by the bridge. I have something to give you. You must go. After that, she ran away. She was so ashamed that she couldn't stay next to Lin Suhengren for a second. She didn't even hear Lin Suhengren calling her or saying anything. Thanks to the Yalian boss for the 1,666 starting coins. Thanks to the bosses for the monthly tickets. I am always looking for follow-up reading and monthly tickets. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62 Little He Qing holding a scarf. At lunchtime, in the junior high school girls' dormitory, Xiao He folded her scarf early and put it in an exquisite gift box. Then she held the box in her arms all morning, fearing that it would be bumped and disappear inexplicably. She also kept taking deep breaths, very nervous. Han Wenwen brought the lunch she bought outside the school. I'm back from buying lunch. I also bought the toothpick meat that Xiao He likes to eat. Xiao He sat on the bed a little embarrassed. Wenwen, you have worked hard. I will go to get lunch tomorrow at noon. Han Wenwen smiled and glanced at her, and put the food on the folding table. What's so hard about this? Today is the day when Xiao He does something big. As a good girlfriend, I will cheer you up and have a celebratory meal in advance. Xiao He lowered her head shyly. Han Wenwen handed her the chopsticks, and she carefully put down the gift box, but her face turned pale after a moment. Han Wenwen blinked. Are you okay? Little He Qing shivered in panic. Wenwen, how do you think he will answer me? Actually, I'm a little scared. Han Wenwen unpacked the chopsticks and bit the tip of the chopsticks. Well, this is hard for me to answer. After all, Lin Suhengren is different from other boys, but I can be sure of one thing, she said with a smile, that is, after experiencing today, Xiao He and Lin Suhengren's relationship will definitely improve. Little He Qing nodded slowly. The two best friends drank drinks and ate lunch. On the other side, Zhang Zuli and her mother took her grandmother home. Her grandmother sat on the sofa and asked her about her participation in the Child Star Studio. Holding her granddaughter's hand, Lily has really grown up and become so amazing. Maybe Grandma can see you on TV in the future. Zhang Zuli stood in front of her grandmother and was a little shy. Grandma asked, but you have to travel far from time to sing, right? Can you do it by yourself? Are you afraid? Zhang Zuli could still tell the truth in front of her grandmother. Grandma, actually I haven't traveled far yet, but next year I will participate in a competition in our town. Fortunately, I have a very good male classmate. He accompanies me and teaches me to practice every day. I am not afraid at all when he's around. Grandma stared at her granddaughter's expression when she mentioned the other person, understood something, and nodded with a smile. I see, it seems that the boy treats you very well. Zhang Zuli nodded. Well, he is very good to me, and he is very good. He can do everything. I used to say that there was a classmate who was very good, and I was talking about him. Grandma looked at her lovingly. Our Lily is the best. Grandma believes that you can do anything. I believe in you unconditionally. Zhang Zuli smiled and continued to nod. Thank you, Grandma. She hugged her grandmother in her arms. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 girls set out from their dormitories and homes at the same time. Zhang Zuli held a zoo flyer, and Xiao Heqing held a gift box containing a scarf. They said goodbye to their grandmother and bestie respectively, and set out for the bridge with white pigeons. At the same time, Lin's Hengren also went out, holding a handful of grains in his hand, intending to feed the pigeons early. He was the first to arrive because his home was the closest. The white pigeons in the sky seemed to know that there was food, flapping their wings and flying over. Lin's Hengren scattered the grains on the ground, and the pigeons snatched them all. On both sides of the road, Xiao Heqing, who came by taxi, got off the car holding a box. She looked at the bridge from a distance and found that Lin's Hengren had arrived long ago. Lin's Hengren, she was very panicked, because she had arrived more than an hour earlier. She quickly ran over with a gift. On the other side, Zhang Zuli came directly from home, her twin ponytails bouncing with her nervous steps. After seeing the figure feeding the pigeons under the bridge, her face was also surprised and happy. Big idiot! Why is he here so early? She quickened her pace and ran under the bridge. They all wanted to shout. But it was this shout that made them and the girls on the opposite side say the same thing. Lin's Hengren. Why are you here so early, big idiot? What time did you come? The second before the shout, Xiao Heqing and Zhang Zuli had no idea that the other party was there. When they saw each other, their pupils dilated and they looked at each other in surprise. The pace slowed down and stopped at the same time. Zhang Zuli saw the box in Xiao Heqing's hand, and Xiao Heqing saw the flyer in Zhang Zuli's hand. They all held it tighter. Lin's Hengren also heard the voice and looked back at them. The 3 people looked at each other at the bridge, and the awkward atmosphere immediately covered the entire bridge. Zhang Zuli's eyes trembled as she stared at the box in her hand. Although she didn't know what it was definitely a very important gift. He Qing, is she really here to confess? Little He Qing also stared at the flyer in her hand and swallowed nervously. Why is Zhang Zuli here? Isn't she here to confess her love? Suddenly, the 2 girls blushed and looked at Lin's Hengren silently. One was as timid as a mouse and didn't dare to speak in front of others. The other hesitated and didn't know what to say. It was still Lin's Hengren who asked, "What are you 2 daydreaming about?" Their heads were smoking with shame and exploded together. The white doves, unaware of the subtle atmosphere, cooed, and some flapped their wings and flew up, and the white feathers fell in the air in front of several people. In the girls' dormitory, Han Wenwen sat on the bed, and her slender fingers touched the red lips that she had kissed on someone's forehead. There was shyness and jealousy on her face. It rained heavily that afternoon, and 3 people got on the same taxi. The soaked little He Qing and Zhang Zuli were blushing and didn't speak in the car. No matter what Lin's Hengren asked, they lowered their heads and were already dumb. The rain stopped the next day, but the road became wet. The morning sun was pretty good. He Qing was holding a box of scarves and walking slowly on the side of the road. She didn't send out her gift yesterday afternoon. Zhang Zuli and the heavy rain completely disrupted her plan. She accidentally saw a little golden retriever stuck in a broken manhole cover on the side of the road. She hurried over and comforted the puppy first. "Don't bite me, I'll help you get your paw out." The little golden retriever whimpered a few times, as if it understood what He Qing said, lying on the ground motionless, its tail slowly wagging. He Qing then walked over carefully and squatted down, holding the box of scarves in one hand and helping the puppy get its paw out with the other hand. Maybe because the strength of one hand was unbalanced, she was reluctant to put the box on the ground. With a force, the puppy's paw came out, but He Qing squatted on the wet mud on the ground due to inertia. The splashed mud also made the puppy full of water stains and mud. She cried out, got up quickly and looked back to check the water stains and mud on her buttocks. She patted it a few times awkwardly, but it was useless. Instead, it became dirtier and dirtier. Because of the splashes of water on its body, the puppy also subconsciously shook its body quickly, and the mud splashed all over Xiao Heqing like a washing machine. Xiao Heqing screamed in fear and closed her eyes and hugged the box tightly in her arms. There were a lot of mud on her body, and there was naturally a lot of mud on the box. The little golden retriever who reacted seemed to know that he had done something wrong, and cried as if to apologize. Knowing that his body was dirty, He dared not touch Xiao Heking, as if to say that he did not mean it. He Qing did not answer, but first checked the box full of stains, and quickly opened it to check the scarf inside. Fortunately, the scarf was fine and was still clean as new. Only then did she breathe a sigh of relief and put the lid back on, smiling and saying to the puppy, "It's okay, it's okay. Anyway, my butt is dirty and I must wash it. You should leave quickly. Don't step into the gap again. Be careful." The puppy whimpered a few more times, and saw that Xiao Heking had left and looked at her from a distance. Dirty little He Qing walked to the entrance of a kindergarten. This was the place where she and Lin Sihengren went to kindergarten. Familiar memories came back to her mind, and she missed it very much. After looking for a while, she walked forward and came to a small river. There was a bench by the river. She put some toilet paper on it, and sat down because she was afraid that her dirty butt would dirty the bench. Looking at the countless mud spots on her body, she felt a little bad. "I guessed you were here. When I sent you two back last night, didn't you hear what I said to you too?" Little He Qing's aggrieved expression suddenly changed, because she was very familiar with the voice and turned to look at the person who came, Lin Sihengren. Lin Sihengren stood beside her at some point, and saw that someone's hair, especially his buttocks, was covered with mud, and wondered, "By the way, what happened to you? Did you go to play in the mud?" Little He Qing stood up hurriedly, her eyes trembling, and she hugged the box shyly. "I just rescued a puppy and accidentally fell to the ground." "What happened to you?" she said carefully. "Why are you here? What about yesterday's words? Why don't I know about it?" Lin Sihengren was helpless, remembering that after it rained heavily yesterday, he called a car for Zheng Zuli and He Qing to get in. As a result, the two girls blushed all the way, and they didn't say anything when he called them, and they were like stone men, and they didn't know what they were thinking. Both of them left their souls. Lin Sihengren stretched out his hand, and Xiao Heking thought he was going to knock her head to close her eyes, but Lin Sihengren didn't knock her head but stopped his hand in midair. When she carefully opened her eyes, Lin Sihengren knocked her head down, and Xiao Heking cried out, "Lin Sihengren, I'll take you to my house to take a shower. Besides, don't you have something to tell me?" Thanks to Mang Mang 1 for the 9,400 starting coins. Thanks to Momo Momo for the 1,000 starting coins. Thanks to Infinite D Fantasy for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to 160,531,203,111,850 for the 100 starting coins. In order to avoid stuck plot, and thank you for the rewards and monthly tickets. Today's two chapters are both small chapters of less than 3,000 words. Chapter 63 He Qing's feelings. She was shy. There is a dryer at home, so I can wash the clothes at the same time, and they will dry quickly. Little He Qing nodded slowly. Her focus was on the second half of the sentence. Lin Sihengren turned to leave, and she wanted to follow him, but before she took a step, she suddenly screamed in pain and almost fell down. Fortunately, she reached out and held onto the bench on the side. Lin Sihengren turned around. "What's wrong?" Little He Qing looked down at her ankle. "It hurts suddenly. I don't know what's going on." Lin Sihengren asked her to sit down and check, squatted down and took off her socks a little, and Little He Qing looked at him shyly. It turned out that the place where she was injured last time was red and swollen again. Lin Sihengren looked up and asked what happened. "Why did you sprain your ankle again today?" "It's the same place." Little He Qing didn't know what was going on. "It didn't hurt before." He stuttered. "No, I don't know. Did I fall and sprain my ankle when I was rescuing the puppy just now? But it really didn't hurt just now." Seeing Lin Sihengren's bad face, she quickly apologized. "Yes, I'm sorry. Don't be angry. I'm a little stupid. You can scold me." Someone remembered that when she was a child, she scolded herself for being brainless. He squatted with his back to Xiao Heking. "I'll carry you and take you home to apply medicine." Xiao Heking was flattered. Seeing his clean clothes, she waved her hands quickly. No, I'm very dirty, all mud, don't carry me, I can walk, I'll just walk slowly." Lin Sihengren turned around and glanced at her. Little He Qing was so scared that her face turned pale, and her words became quieter than a mosquito's voice. I can come up, but it's really dirty." She really didn't dare to disobey Lin Sihengren, but fortunately Lin Sihengren deliberately said, "Can't you help me wash this coat later?" Seeing that he said so, Little He Qing slowly climbed onto his back, and kept saying apologetically, "Sorry, Lin Sihengren, I got your clothes dirty." Lin Sihengren asked her to hug his neck, and the helpless Little He Qing freed one hand to hug her. Lin Zhengren then stood up and held little He Qing's thighs with both hands to go home. The little girl weighed less than 100 pounds, and Lin Zhengren's own physique was different from that of ordinary people, so she was extremely light. Only little He Qing was afraid that she was heavy, and she whispered, "Am I heavy? Are you tired of carrying me? Why are you chirping? Woo woo." The two passed by the kindergarten that little He Qing had just passed by, and Lin Zhengren and He Qing looked over together. Lin Zhengren, so, she nodded in shame, knowing what he was going to ask. Lin Zhengren carried her across the street, passers-by looked at them curiously, and little boys and girls chased and played in front of the kindergarten. Little He Qing felt her heartbeat quicken. In fact, Lin Zhengren basically knew what these guys wanted to do. "I really don't know why you little girls have so many inner dramas all day long. But I'm not interested in junior high school girls." Little He Qing was stunned, and then her eyes were red in an instant, as if she was about to cry. Not interested. What does not interested mean? Did I fail in my confession? But I haven't confessed yet, and haven't said anything, so how could it fail? Lin Zhengren was about to say something else when he suddenly heard her sobbing and sniffling. "Are you crying?" "No, not crying, woo." She bit her lip aggrievedly, tears welling up in her eyes. "I'm not crying, woo." Lin Zhengren, "Crying is useless. Stretch your head over here." "Ah." Well, she stretched her head forward as far as she could. "Then what?" "Lin Zhengren, put the hand that is around my neck on your head and flick your head hard." "Oh, okay." Little He Qing cried and sniffed as she put her hand on her forehead, then flicked it hard. She groaned in pain, and was about to cry because she was about to cry again because she hit myself on the head too hard. "It hurts, I hit my head so hard." Lin Zhengren thought it was outrageous. She really wanted to kill herself. "It's right to hurt, you don't learn your lesson. Do you remember what you said when you were a child? What was the reason you learned taekwondo?" She was in pain and aggrieved with tears in her eyes. "Remember, I want to make myself stronger. I want to protect you when you are bullied, and become a strong adult." Lin Zhengren, have you done it now? Do you think you have grown up? No, no. She was sincere in front of Lin Zhengren. "Even recently, I haven't practiced taekwondo very well, and I always make you angry." Little He Qing hugged the box in her hand tightly. "You know you haven't grown up yet, but you still have wild thoughts." Lin Zhengren held her thigh and continued to walk forward. After waiting for a while, he said, "If you win the championship in the taekwondo competition in the town next year, I can fulfill a small wish of yours as a reward." Little He Qing blinked. "A small wish?" Lin Zhengren suddenly said, "Also, we will be 16 years old when we go to high school." "Right," she answered Lin Zhengren first. "Yes, I will be 16 when I go to high school, and I will be 18 when I graduate. Mom said that I will be a real big girl in high school." At first she didn't think much about it and just answered normally, but in a trance, Little He Qing reacted to something, her eyes widened, and the whole person suddenly became happy, blushing shyly and muttering to herself, "Wait, big girl. I won't be a little girl in high school, I'm a big girl." She remembered what he just said, and plucked up the courage. "Lin Zhengren, you should not dislike girls, right?" Lin Zhengren was unbelievable and retorted, "Ah. What do you think? I don't plan to become a monk. What are you thinking about?" Little He Qing was very surprised and smiled. "Really? Then if you don't like children, if I win the town competition next year and become powerful, I will no longer be a little girl after entering high school." "You?" Her smart brain subconsciously changed the wording, and asked carefully, "You won't abandon me? When I was a child, you said that I would follow you for the rest of my life." "Well, I did tell you to follow me when we were in kindergarten, and it still counts." Little He Qing burst into tears of joy, and smiled. "Really?" Her face suddenly froze, and she blinked stupidly. "Wait, so in this case, did I succeed or fail in my confession? And I don't even seem to have confessed, so weird." Chapter 64 The Mistress and the Bones. "But suddenly I was looking forward to going to high school and growing up." Little He Qing slowly leaned her forward against Lin Zhengren's back, her face becoming more and more shy. "It hurts my back. What on earth are you holding in your hand? Have you been holding it since yesterday?" Lin Zhengren asked again out of the blue. "Ah. Is it very painful?" Little He Qing answered in a low voice and adjusted the position of the box. "This is a gift for you. I'll show it to you when we get home." After adjusting the position, she asked, "Is it not painful now?" "It's better now." Before Lin Zhengren took Little He Qing home, Little He Qing asked nervously on the way, "By the way, our uncle and aunt here, they're not at home. You can just go take a shower when the time comes." "Okay." When she arrived at the door of her house, she took off her dirty shoes at the door and put on women's slippers. Although little He Qing's shoes were dirty, her socks were still white, and her little feet were still spotless. She went to the bathroom to take off her down jacket outside, but found that she was still holding the gift. Lin's Hengren also took off his coat that was already stained with mud, and reminded the other party, "Just put the gift down, I won't look at it in advance." He knew that Xiao Heqing had prepared this gift for a long time. After all, she started to be in a bad mood half a month ago. It was obvious that her attention was focused on something. It was probably that she had been busy with this. Lin's Hengren was too lazy to do something boring and disappointing. When Xiao Heqing heard him say that, she curtly put the box on the ground. "I'll show it to you after I take a shower." She took off her coat, but accidentally got the mud spots on her coat on her sweater. Xiao Heqing screamed in panic, "The sweater is dirty too. It needs to be washed too." She took off the sweater again, and there was a women's pure white base shirt inside. As a result, because of her clumsy hands, the mud spots on the sweater got on the base shirt again. When she took off the sweater, Xiao Heqing blushed and looked at the base shirt with mud spots in surprise. "The undershirt is dirty too. It's all dirty." Lin's Hengren was speechless, wondering how she could be so stupid. "What are you doing? Do you have to get all your clothes covered in mud?" Little He Qing didn't know why she was so stupid. She lowered her head aggrievedly, and slowly picked at the mud spots on her undershirt with her little hands. She wanted to say that she really didn't mean it. Lin's Hengren turned around speechlessly and went to the bedroom. "I'll go to the bedroom to get your pajamas. Wear mine for now before the clothes are dried." Little He Qing hesitantly agreed, and soon the hot water was turned on in the bathroom. Little He Qing went inside and locked the door. Sure enough, because she squatted directly in the mud when she rescued the puppy just now, the innerwear inside her pants was all dirty. Only her underwear was relatively clean. And the underwear. When Xiao Heqing was taking a shower, she was so angry that she imitated Lin's Hengren's action of knocking her head. She was very annoyed. "What are you doing? Lin's Hengren just said that he doesn't like useless girls, and you are as stupid as a headless person." She squeezed shower gel and shampoo. She soaked her whole body and covered it with foam. Lin's Hengren was lying on the bed in the bedroom, reading a book and listening to the sound of Xiao Heqing taking a shower. Thinking of yesterday afternoon. Besides Xiao Heqing, Zhang Zuli, that idiot, wouldn't want to tell him that kind of thing. These two little guys are too outrageous. Xiao Heqing called from the bathroom. "Lin's Hengren. Which one is Auntie's bath towel? Which one should I use to wipe my body later?" Lin's Hengren answered loudly. "My mom and my dad use the same one. You can use mine, the white one with blue edges. Anyway, I just washed the bath towel yesterday." I use yours." Although he was just talking, he could already feel how ashamed Xiao Heqing was at the moment. "Just use it. There are no other towels yet." "I know." In the bathroom, Xiao Heqing was washing her head with hot water. She turned her head and looked at the blue-edged towel hanging on the wall. She pursed her lips and said, "This is his towel." She stared at it eagerly. Suddenly, an idea came to her mind and she twisted the hot water flow a little smaller. She took the towel and slowly wanted to put it to the tip of her nose to smell it. But when she was about to put it to the tip of her nose, she immediately blushed and closed her eyes and quickly hung the towel back. She turned on the hot water again and washed her face vigorously to calm herself down. She said to herself, "I'm not a pervert, I'm not a pervert, I'm not a pervert, I can't do that kind of thing." After more than 10 minutes, Xiao Heqing finished washing. Her long ponytail was draped over her shoulders. Xiao Heqing put on Lin's Hengren's pajamas and found that it was so much bigger than her own. The top alone could directly cover part of her thighs. And there was a strong smell of him on the clothes. Little He Qing quietly poked her head out of the bathroom, curious about whether Lin's Hengren was in the living room, and found that she was not carefully wrapping her hair with a towel. It is difficult to blow dry a girl's hair all at once, so she had to wrap it up and wait for a while, so that she would not catch a cold easily. After that, she began to do the same as the hostess, carrying the dirty clothes to the balcony and putting them in the washing machine, because she had been here countless times since she was a child, and she was still very familiar with where many things in Lin's Hengren's house were. After putting the clothes, she immediately took the mop to the bathroom to clean the water stains on the floor, and then put the bath towel in the basin to wash it by hand, and accidentally saw the socks that Lin's Hengren had just taken off his shoes. Lin's Hengren heard her busy outside in the bedroom, and curiously came out to see her. It turned out that she really treated this place as her own home. The washing machine was running, the mop was placed aside, and the little girl was washing the bath towel in the wash basin. By the way, she also washed the socks that Lin Sehengren had just taken off when he changed his shoes. "What are you doing?" Lin Sehengren asked her. Xiao Heqing turned around. "Wash the bath towel." She picked up Lin Sehengren's socks. "By the way, I thought of washing your socks, and they're already washed." "Huh?" He didn't understand. "Isn't there a washing machine?" "And I just changed my socks this morning. The washing machine is washing our clothes. I thought I'd just wash the bath towels since I have nothing to do now. As for your socks, you just went out. So you should change to new ones that are cleaner and dry quickly." She wrung out the water on her socks. "Go back to the bedroom and take a rest. I'll cut some fruit for you later. I saw apples and pears on the table. Which one do you want?" "Lin Sehengren, apple." "Okay, I'll cut it for you later." Watching her take the wash bath towels and socks to the balcony to dry them, Xiao Heqing came back and put the mop on the balcony. After finishing, she actually breathed a sigh of relief. "It's all done." After saying that, she sat on the sofa, picked up a small knife and cut the apple, and then inserted a few toothpicks in it. She made a fruit plate and brought it to the bedside of Lin Sehengren's bedroom. "It's all cut, just eat it." After a big battle with the red sky demon dog, He Xiangzi was covered in blood. "You brought her to your residence. In order to thank her, she washed your clothes and cleaned the place for you, and prepared fruits for you. These things all carry He Xiangzi's innate spiritual energy. You will gain strength +1 and charm +2 after being touched." Little He Qing ran to the bathroom and began to untie the towel on her head. She wanted to blow her hair, but this time she was a little stunned when she got the hairdryer. Because this hairdryer was new and she had never used it before. "Lin Sehengren, how do you use this? Teach me." Lin Sehengren sighed heavily and came to her side. "This is how to use it." He taught little He Qing how to use it, and saw that little He Qing's hair was already halfway to her waist. When she tied her hair into a ponytail, she didn't care much, but when she let it down, she didn't expect her hair to be so long. Seeing her clumsily blow-drying her hair after learning, it looked really strenuous. Lin Sehengren said, "Since you have done so many things, I will help you. Give me the hairdryer and stand next to me." Thanks to the big brother of Lumen Caniu for the 2,500 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother of Infinite D Fantasy for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother of Calling for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother of Guangguang Zhuang for the 500 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother of Beiming Xian Shenma for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to the big brother of Ji Bachu for the 200 starting coins. Daily request for follow-up reading and monthly tickets. Chapter 65, Clever Little He Qing Succeeds in Enlightenment. Little He Qing was flattered, but when she heard Lin Sehengren say "come here again," she hurried to him. First, she turned her back to him and let him blow the hair from behind. Little He Qing held her hands in front of her, and the heat from the hairdryer made her feel warm. Occasionally, she would secretly peek at Lin Sehengren, who was blowing her hair seriously through the mirror, and a blush appeared on her face. "How tall are you now? It seems that you have grown a little taller than last year," Lin Sehengren asked casually. Little He Qing answered softly, 1.57 meters. "I just measured it a few days ago, but she seems to be growing very slowly since last year. I feel a little short. It would be much better if she grows to 1.65 meters, she whispered. When one is 1.63 meters, Lin Sehengren didn't really care because he was a head taller than both of them. "Really? I think you two are about the same." Little He Qing stroked a handful of hair with her hand. "Yes, she is much taller than me." "Lin Sehengren, do you think short girls are more beautiful or tall girls are more beautiful?" Lin Sehengren told the truth. "I don't have any feelings in this regard, they are all about the same." "Then what type do you like?" "I'm not picky about this, I only like what I like." Little He Qing pursed her lips, thinking that you didn't answer seriously, but in fact Lin Sehengren did answer seriously. He reminded, "The back is almost done. Turn around and I will blow the front and the top of your head for you." "Oh?" Little He Qing turned around, and when she saw his strong chest, her heart suddenly trembled, and her heart was beating fast. Slowly, she lowered her head shyly and moved closer to his chest. Lin Sehengren was unceremoniously stroking her hair with his hands and blowing her air openly. But the more natural he was, the more unnatural Xiao Heqing became, and she was at a loss. Her forehead, which was being touched, gently rubbed against his chest several times, and her little hands tightened and loosened. Xiao Heqing thought that this seemed to be the first time he blew my hair, so happy her little hands secretly poked the corner of Lin Hengren's clothes dishonestly, feeling the heat on her hair. It is said that ordinary boys and girls should not do such things, but he did this to me and it seemed that there was nothing strange. What was going on? Suddenly, Xiao Heqing's hand stopped, and she suddenly thought of something. Past memories and the conversation on the road just now entered her mind, and her smart brain seemed to have figured it out at this moment. It's just that others may not understand her brain circuit. She covered her red face with her hands. So that's how it is? So that's how it is. At this moment, she realized something very, very important. Lin Hengren saw her suddenly go crazy. Why are you covering your face? Raise your head, little He Qing quickly responded, raised her head quickly and looked at him with her lips bitten. Quietly pinching the corner of her clothes with her hands, she said to herself in her heart, so that's it, I just realized that everything is clear now. It turns out that, he and I have been boyfriend and girlfriend for a long time. He Lin Hengren, who was blowing her hair, had no idea what her smart brain was thinking. After blowing her hair, Lin Hengren put away the hair dryer. Okay, tie your ponytail yourself. Oh. Okay, little He Qing's expression became extremely happy. She bit the leather rope in front of the mirror, combed her hair into a bunch with her hands, and then tied it up. Lin Hengren had already gone to the bedroom and lay on the bed to eat an apple. After finishing, little He Qing shook her head, and her ponytail swung. She saw the dirty gift box on the ground, carefully opened it, took out the scarf inside, folded it twice and hid it behind her. Entered the bedroom. Lin Hengren saw this guy's sneaky look and knew that she was bringing a gift. He looked at him while chewing an apple. Xiao Heqing slowly took out the thing, which was a gray exquisite thin thread scarf. This is the gift I prepared. I knitted it for you bit by bit. I specially chose the thin one and knitted 2 layers. It should be warmer to wear it this way, she explained embarrassedly. Originally, the meaning of giving you this gift was to use it as, she shook her head and said softly, but I just found out that I was wrong, so this gift is given to you as a winter gift. I hope you like it. Lin Hengren was surprised when he saw the exquisite light gray scarf, but it was reasonable. In fact, a girl had given him a scarf in his previous life, but it was obviously different from Xiao Heqing's. Xiao Heqing chose a thin thread to knit, which required twice the workload. And it was not the kind of rough simple handwork. The surrounding edges and some details were obviously worked hard. Lin Hengren sat up and took it and looked at it. How long have you been doing it? Xiao Heqing was about to sit down, but when Lin Hengren asked, she stood up quickly. Half a month. Have you learned it before? It looks pretty good. This casual compliment was enough to make Xiao Heqing happy for the whole day, and her tone was cheerful. I haven't learned it before. This is my first time learning to knit something, so I didn't even know how to knit at the beginning. I always knitted and unknitted. After all, I thought it was a gift for you, so I didn't want to do it perfunctorily. Lin Hengren looked up at her expectant face. It was as if the words praise me, were written on her face. As a result, Lin Hengren reached out and knocked her on the head. Little He Qing covered her forehead with her hands. What's wrong? Don't you like it? Lin Hengren said expressionlessly at first. I like it, I will keep it well. Little He Qing blushed, but then he said, but you just want to give me a scarf. You were injured while practicing taekwondo for half a month and you are drowsy during the day. Is there something wrong with your brain? Little He Qing pursed her lips and put down her arms. She rarely talked back to him. How can this be called a problem? Because you are very important to me. She crossed her fingers and turned them around, and said in a low voice, no one is more important than you. After that, Lin Hengren knocked her head again. I feel that this girl has not grown up completely. I said a long time ago that you should take care of yourself first. Next time, if you don't sleep and get injured in order to give me something, I won't want it. Did you hear me? Yeah, I know. After that, Lin Hengren looked at the scarf again and put it around his neck. Xiao Heqing understood and smiled. Let me put it on you. I'll do it. I didn't say I wanted to wear it. Xiao Heqing stopped and stared at him, humming. Try it without wearing it. Lin Hengren's eyes were helpless. Xiao Heqing still knew what his eyes meant, and tentatively reached out her hand. Very gently, she crossed Lin Hengren's scarf and put one end in to put it on. That's it. After that, she put her hands together in front of her. Sure enough, it will look good on you. I'll go get a mirror. Xiao Heqing went to look in the mirror happily again. Because the clothes would take a long time to dry, Lin's Hengren sat at the head of the bed, covered with a quilt and reading. Xiao Heking bravely sat beside him and covered with a quilt with him. The little feet in the quilt swayed secretly. "What are you looking at?" asked a cute voice. "Linear algebra, because learning is cultivation in the eyes of the system." Lin's Hengren basically reads books whenever he has time. Of course, ordinary people may forget what they have read, but the energy points added by Lin's Hengren can not only make people energetic, but also improve memory and concentration. Therefore, after these years of cultivation, the knowledge in his mind has long been far beyond that of ordinary people. Xiao Heking saw that the things written in the book were like heavenly books and she couldn't understand them at all. But her eyes were looking at the scarf on his neck. She didn't take it off after putting it on. She happily leaned beside him and read with him. Lin's Hengren asked, "Can you understand it?" "I can't understand it. What you read is very advanced. I can't learn it." "Then why are you joining me? You can sleep or watch TV in the living room before the clothes are dried. There is no need to sit here to accompany me. I'd better sit next to you." "I like to sit here." She saw Lin's Hengren glanced at her incredulously, and she didn't look at him and continued to pretend to read. Anyway, it didn't matter whether she could understand it or not. As long as she was with Lin's Hengren, Xiao Heking was in a good mood and felt that today was a very meaningful day. The little feet continued to swing in the bed. "It's off the new book list. I asked the editor and it should be on the shelves on the 11th of next month. I will update it quickly then." Chapter 66, Crazy Thoughts on Twin Ponytails. While reading, Lin's Hengren got out of bed to find the ointment for treating bruises at home. Little He Qing didn't know what he was going to do. When he came back, she heard him ask, "By the way, does your foot not hurt now?" Little He Qing, who was lying on the bed, reacted stupidly, "Yes, it seems not to hurt anymore." "When did it not hurt?" She looked at Lin's Hengren who was walking towards her, and suddenly thought of something and waved her hands to defend herself. "Don't think I'm lying. I didn't lie to you just to let you carry me. It really hurt just now, but it seems that it doesn't hurt since I came to your house. I have forgotten about it. You have to believe me. I said before that I won't lie to you again." Lin's Hengren glanced at her, lifted the quilt to look at her ankle. "What are you explaining?" "I didn't say I don't believe you. Bring your foot here for me to see." He squatted at her ankle to check. There was no external injury just now, but it was a little red, but now it is basically invisible. "If it doesn't hurt so quickly, I guess it's because the cold air blew on the injured part of your foot before, so it started to sting. After taking a hot bath, your ankle became warm and it was relieved." Xiao Heking only listened to half of what he said, and the rest of her attention was watching him looking at her feet. She felt so shy because Wenwen once said that among the parts of girls that boys like, feet are also very important, especially some boys even think that a pair of beautiful feet is more important than anything else. "I like to play with them." Lin's Hengren carefully made some ointment. "Since it doesn't hurt anymore, I'll apply a little on you. The main thing is that you should pay attention to yourself. Don't run around when it rains or something like that." Xiao Heking was distracted. Lin's Hengren repeated again, "Did you hear me?" Xiao Heking, who came back to her senses, was shocked. "I heard it. I remember it all." She pursed her lips and watched him apply the ointment on her feet with his fingers, curious about what part of girls he liked the most. Hands? Feet? Eyes? Nose? Mouth? Or some other place? After the clothes were dried, Xiao Heking locked the door in the bedroom and changed her clothes, looking neat and new. Lin's Hengren accompanied Xiao Heking downstairs. When they arrived at the gate of the community, Lin's Hengren asked, "Do you have money to take a taxi back?" Xiao Heking replied, "I can just walk back, it's not too far." Lin's Hengren took out a large bill from his pocket. During this period, while Han Wenwen was making money, Lin's Hengren also made a lot of money. "Take it and take the taxi back, so that your feet won't hurt." Xiao Heking looked eagerly. "What a big sum of money." Lin's Hengren said again, "Just pay me back later." She then stretched out her hand to take it, and said timidly, "Well, then I will wait until I win a prize in the taekwondo competition next year and make money, and then I will pay you back." While the two were talking, no one noticed that there was a girl with twin ponytails and a small cotton jacket at the intersection, with her hands behind her back, walking slowly towards here. The person coming was naturally Jiang Zuli. The girl lowered her head and thought about what happened yesterday afternoon. The scene of meeting He Qing on the bridge at the same time was very embarrassing. Thinking about it now, she still felt extremely ashamed. However, When she was riding home with the big fool He Qing, she vaguely heard the big fool say that he would come to see her in the afternoon. But Zhang Zuli waited for him at home for a long time and didn't see him, so she wanted to take the initiative to come over to see if he was at home. As a result, Zhang Zuli just walked to the gate of the community and saw two figures of a man and a woman in the distance. She might have misjudged anyone's figure, but not Lin Sengren's. But is the little girl with a single ponytail in front of the big fool He Qing? Zhang Zuli was so scared that she quickly hid in a corner and secretly watched what the two were doing. Why is the big fool with He Qing? Is it to talk to her about what happened yesterday afternoon? And it looks like these two people just came out of the house. Let's see first. She didn't say a word, and suddenly found the exquisite scarf on Lin Sengren's neck. In the distance, Xiao He Qing said a few simple goodbye words to Lin Sengren. Xiao He Qing looked at him reluctantly. Then I'm leaving. See you next week. Well, go back. Send me a message when you get to the dormitory. Xiao He Qing looked at the scarf on his neck and carefully reached out to adjust it for him. This scene was naturally seen by Zhang Zuli in the distance, and her eyes trembled. She stared at the two and murmured, that scarf, could it be given by He Qing? The box in He Qing's hand yesterday afternoon was obviously filled with some gift, and the box looked big but light. If it is assumed that it contained a scarf, everything would make sense. In other words, He Qing, she had already given the gift away? And the big fool accepted it. Suddenly, Xiao He Qing in the distance looked down and saw that her shoelaces were untied, and she began to tie her shoelaces again. Zhang Zuli's eyes slowly widened at this moment, because in her eyes, what she saw was not shoelacing, but a proposal. He Qing is proposing to the big fool on one knee. Confession, it was exactly the same as her dream that day. She saw little He Qing raised her head and said something to Lin Sengren. Zhang Zuli couldn't hear their conversation because it was very quiet, but she could imagine it in her mind. He Qing said affectionately, Lin Sengren asked me to marry you, so I knelt on one knee to propose to you. Can you be my husband? Little He Qing paused. If you are willing, please hold my hand, okay? Zhang Zuli grabbed the corner of the wall nervously and bit her lips. Then she saw with her own eyes that Lin Sengren stretched out his hand and pulled He Qing up. And little He Qing said with a blushing face, I am so happy now. I have to go back to the dormitory to calm down. In a few days, we will go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get the certificate. She waved her hand. Lin Sengren also nodded, okay, I will accompany you in a few days. Be careful on the road, dear. Of course, imagination is imagination after all. In fact, the real situation in the distance is definitely not like this. After squatting on the ground to tie her shoelaces, Xiao He Qing took the opportunity to check her ankle that had been stinging before, pressed it with her hand, and looked up at Lin Sengren and said, my foot seems to really not hurt anymore. Lin Sengren stretched out his hand to pull her up. Be careful even if it doesn't hurt. If it hurts again, you have to go to the hospital. Especially pay more attention in the next few days. Xiao He Qing nodded, then I'll leave. She waved at Lin Sengren. Lin Sengren also nodded in response. Well, drive slowly on the road. Xiao He Qing walked slowly to the intersection and took a taxi to leave. Of course, even if she got in the taxi, she would roll down the window and continue to wave to Lin Sengren. After watching Xiao He Qing leave, Lin Sengren turned around and planned to go to Zhang Zuli's house, because Zhang Zuli's studio had a small rehearsal this afternoon, plus what happened yesterday. But when he turned his head, he saw a small pink face and double ponytails hanging down due to gravity in the corner of the wall in the distance. Lin Sengren knew who it was at once. Zhang Zuli? Why are you hiding there? Zhang Zuli saw that the big fool had found her. She wanted to hide, but her emotions could not be held back and she did not want to pretend anymore. She walked out with tears in her eyes, closed her eyes and clenched her fists and shouted, Pighead! Idiot! Big fool! You don't keep your word. How can you accept someone else's proposal? She bit her lip and felt wronged and betrayed. Her voice choked. Didn't you say you would marry me in the future? If you don't marry me, who will I marry in the future? Who will I be the bride of? She turned around and wanted to run away, shielding her eyes with her arms and tears like a flood. Woo woo woo, I hate people who don't keep their word. As a result, when she ran away from Lin Sengren grabbed her arm and said speechlessly, what's wrong with you again? What proposal? Who proposed to whom? How did I break my word? Explain clearly before running away. Thanks to the boss of I feel pity for you, not because I like you for the reward of 10,000 starting coins. Lily Party General. Thanks to 202411261751212851 inches for the 200 starting coins. Thanks to 2024110914595272 inches for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to Beaming Xian Shenma for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to 2024112807155164 inches for the 100 starting coins. Daily request for follow-up reading and monthly ticket. Chapter 67 Absolute Trust. Seeing her tears, Lin Zhengren thought that she would not burst into tears, but he grabbed Zhang Zuli's arm. Zhang Zuli's eyes were still full of tears, but she pulled her mouth hard and stared at Lin Zhengren with tears in her eyes. Explain quickly. Explain quickly. Lin Zhengren was embarrassed. What kind of guy did you know? What should I explain? I still want to hear your explanation. What did you just say? Zhang Zuli looked at him with red eyes, aggrieved. What should I explain? Big idiot. I want you to explain. Big idiot. Stinky idiot. Are you scolding again? I won't scold. She didn't dare. Seeing Lin Zhengren staring at her, Zhang Zuli spoke again. Anyway, I clearly saw her proposing just now. You too. She poked Lin Zhengren's arm. Let go of my hand first. I'll tell you the truth and see how you explain it. Lin Zhengren let go of his hand. Zhang Zuli used both hands to describe the scene, imitating He Qing's actions just now, even knelt on one knee with a scarf tied on. When I came just now, I saw you two doing this, then that, and finally she knelt on one knee, and finally you said that you were going to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a marriage certificate this week. Don't you admit it? Lin Zhengren said in confusion. Although Zhang Zuli's description was very abstract, perhaps because he had known this guy since childhood, he could vaguely understand it. The general meaning was that she had just witnessed a proposal. Lin Zhengren wanted to ask, let's not talk about your this and that. Others can't understand what you are talking about. What do you mean that we have to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a marriage certificate this week? Do you think a junior high school student in his teens can get a certificate? Zhang Zuli was about to say something else, but suddenly her brain got stuck. She looked at him with tears in her eyes, blinking blankly. Yes, I remember that you can only get married in your 20s, so why did you say you were going to get a marriage certificate? Lin Zhengren couldn't help but reward her with a brain bang. Zhang Zuli screamed and covered her head with her hands and stopped crying. Why did you hit me, you big idiot? Lin Zhengren looked at her with disdain. Did you hear those incredible realities you just said with your own ears? Don't tell me you made them up in your mind. Zhang Zuli made an M sound in her throat. It was my imagination. Lin Zhengren knocked her head again. In fact, each hit did not hurt, but it was enough for Zhang Zuli to reset her state. She pointed at Lin Zhengren's scarf. You hit me again. Then how are you going to explain that you are wearing a scarf? This scarf was given to you by He Qing, Lin Zhengren said. This one, he deliberately said. Well, actually you are not wrong. What you just heard is true. Zhang Zuli's eyes widened, and she suddenly swung her little fist and hit Lin Zhengren madly. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. I didn't hear anything just now. It was all imaginary. You two are not together at all. And how could you get married at such a young age? Tell me what happened just now. I don't believe you will go back on your word. My big idiot is not that kind of person. Lin Zhengren habitually caught her phantom little fist and said calmly, I'll say it once. He Qing's clothes were dirty just now and she went to my house to wash clothes, and then I sent her downstairs after they were washed. That's it. Zhang Zuli stopped punching, and suddenly smiled without any transition. With her hands behind her back, she smiled. So that's how it is. You should have told me earlier, you big fool. Her face was full of joy. I said that although you are not good in every way, you are very honest and will never lie to me. I believe you very much. In Zhang Zuli's heart, although Lin Zhengren may be unfaithful, he will never lie. And if the facts conflict with what Lin Zhengren said, then in her heart, what Lin Zhengren said must be true, and the facts must be false, because in the theft incident in elementary school, Zhang Zuli had already determined that the big fool was the only one in the world that she could trust unconditionally. In terms of trust, Zhang Zuli and He Qing have always been full of trust in Lin Zhengren, which can be attributed to the unique passivity of growing up together as childhood sweethearts. Suddenly, a car drove in the distance and stopped at the gate of the community, and the glass of the driver's seat fell down. The driver was a beautiful sister in her 30s. Zhang Zuli? Why are you here? I'm just going to the studio to record a video, so I'll take you with me. Zhang Zuli heard the voice, turned her head and wiped her tears with her arm. Sister Zhang. Great, I'm planning to go too. She didn't forget to introduce, and didn't doubt what He Qing had just said. Sister Zhang, let me introduce this person, Lin Zhanggren, my childhood sweetheart. Lin Zhanggren smiled. Hello, Sister Zhang. Sister Zhang responded, little handsome boy, I think I've seen you in the studio before. Have you occasionally accompanied Zhang Zuli to the studio to get things and watch her record songs? Lin Zhanggren nodded. Yes, I have accompanied her a few times. Sister Zhang smiled and sighed. Childhood sweethearts, it's great, then I'll take you two with me. Zhang Zuli laughed embarrassedly. After saying thank you to Sister Zhang, she looked at Lin Zhanggren. Big idiot, let's go together. Lin Zhanggren said, let's go, and the two got on the car and went to the Child Star studio together. After arriving at the place, because they had to record songs sooner or later, Zhang Zuli went directly to the recording studio. Lin Zhanggren sat in the lounge area under the stage with his arms crossed, listening to Zhang Zuli's singing. Once she stood on the stage, Zhang Zuli's singing talent could be adjusted instantly, but today her voice had some problems because of what happened just now. The recording engineer asked, it was fine at the beginning, but why is Lily's voice different from usual at the end? It feels a little hoarse. How about taking a break? Let someone else record first. Zhang Zuli took the microphone and knew that it might be because she had just cried. Okay, I'll take a break and come back. She put down the microphone and looked down, and found that there were actually two girls who were also singing beside Lin Zhanggren, who asked Lin Zhanggren for their contact number. Handsome boy, which school are you from? You are really handsome. What's your mobile phone number? Yes, what's your mobile phone number? Who are you here to practice singing with today? Lin Zhanggren was not interested in these 13 or 14-year-old girls at all. I don't have a mobile phone number. I came here with her, the one on the stage, seeing that someone was poaching her. Zhang Zuli was anxious and kept waving her fists and ran over quickly. When the girls saw Zhang Zuli, they looked at each other with some regret. So you are Lily's partner? Well, Lily has a boyfriend. They left while chatting. Zhang Zuli of course heard what they said, and suddenly blushed again, but did not refute. Boyfriend walked up to Lin Zhanggren. You big idiot. What were you doing just now? Lin Zhanggren, I was just sitting and listening to you sing. By the way, there are always new people coming and going in this studio, and it seems that many old people leave as well. Zhang Zuli hummed. That's right, a lot of people leave after singing for a while and feeling that they are not famous. After all, this studio doesn't have any background, and the singers here don't seem to have made any money. After she finished speaking, she got anxious again. Wait. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to say why there are people chatting up you every time you sit here. You are so good at attracting girls. Although I admit that you are very handsome and awesome. But, Lin Zhanggren, but what does it have to do with me if they ask me for my phone number? Besides, I don't plan to give it to you. Zhang Zuli sat next to him after hearing this, pouting. This is almost considered a bit serious. She glanced at the handmade scarf around Lin Zhanggren's neck, and her lively eyes looked at the exquisite workmanship. What's wrong with your scarf? Was this a gift from He Qing to you? He looked down and said, well, they said it was a gift for me for the winter, but I wore it all afternoon and it felt too hot. I'll find a box to put it away when I go back tonight. Zhang Zuli was surprised to hear that it was just a gift for the winter. Although she was very jealous, it turned out to be a confession. She remembered that she wanted to invite him to the zoo. Lin Zhanggren asked, did you want to tell me something yesterday? I saw you holding a flyer. Chapter 68 Must Win. As soon as the word flyer came out, Zhang Zuli was like a kitten with its fur standing on end. She stammered, ah. What flyer? Oh, she looked away with an embarrassed grin. You mean flyers? Actually, I just picked them up on the street. She looked at some singing girls chatting in the distance. Some of them looked at her, waved their hands or smiled with their hands covering their mouths. The look was like someone in the school trying to match a couple, saying come on, or something like that. Zhang Zuli turned her head to look at Lin Zhanggren, and said boldly, I'll ask you a question first, and I'll tell you after you answer it. Lin Zhanggren looked at her. Zhang Zuli's mouth trembled, and she tried to speak. Big fool, am I a very important person to you? Or am I just a simple childhood sweetheart in your heart? Even if you can't see me one day, you won't be sad for long. She clenched her fist on her thigh. I know you won't lie to me, so I want to hear your answer. Lin Zhanggren looked at Zhang Zuli, and Zhang Zuli stared at him nervously. Is that a question? Why do I feel like there are three? And I'm not the one asking you. How come you're asking me? Who cares how many there are? Who cares who asks who? Zhang Zuli closed her eyes and blushed and yelled, "Don't change the subject at such a critical moment." Lin Zhengren looked at the nervous Zhang Zuli. He knew that his next word should be very important to Zhang Zuli, but he would not add fuel to the fire and would only tell the truth. The main thing is that what you ask is nonsense. Both you and He Qing are very important people to me. What do you mean by simple childhood sweethearts? You and I have known each other for 7 years. We have been together almost every day for the past 7 years. Although you are annoying when you yell, if you really disappear from my sight one day. Lin Zhengren stared at Zhang Zuli. Zhang Zuli's heartbeat had accelerated without her knowing, and her clenched fingers were trembling slightly. Lin Zhengren, I will definitely be worried about you. This has nothing to do with how long I have taught you music. The main thing is that you are the only one who grew up with me, right? Zhang Zuli's face was full of tears. She covered her lips with her hands. Her voice was a little shy, but her face was already shy to the extreme. I actually guessed that you would say something I couldn't imagine, but I didn't expect that I was so important to you. Big idiot. After saying that, she suddenly closed her eyes and happily punched Lin Zhengren with her fists. Her heart was banging against the wall. Big idiot. Who told you to say these words that make girls shy? It's so embarrassing. How can you have the nerve to say these things? Lin Zhengren looked at her, massaging her arm with her fists, and said speechlessly, "Are you crazy? Didn't you ask? I will say whatever you ask. Besides, how is this corny?" Zhang Zuli saw a little sister passing by laughing secretly. Obviously she heard part of it. Zhang Zuli shouted in shame and didn't understand. "Isn't this corny? What is corny? I hate you so much," she said shyly and began to search her pockets. She found the folded flyer and unfolded it. She took a deep breath and raised her hands in front of him. "Since you answered my question, then I have nothing to be shy about. This is what I wanted to show you yesterday. A new zoo opened in our city some time ago. I want you to go and see it." Lin Zhengren took the flyer. "Zoo? You went through so much trouble for this?" "But I'm not very interested." Zhang Zuli clenched her fist and retorted, "How can I not be interested? I've seen it on the internet. There are tigers and lions in it. You probably haven't been to a zoo since you were a child, right? It's a good opportunity for us to go and see it together. Anyway, you don't have to spend money. I still have a lot of pocket money left for the new year." Lin Zhengren reacted. Although this guy grew up with him, she obviously didn't know much about all his experiences. For example, Lin Zhengren had been to the zoo many times in his previous life. "Lin Zhengren, do you want to go?" Zhang Zuli blushed. "Well, to be precise, I want to go with you." "Oh my god, what am I talking about? I'm crazy." "But, let's die." Big idiots say that kind of thing. It's okay to die a little, just consider it as suicide for love. Lin Zhengren returned the flyer to her, and Zhang Zuli blinked blankly. Then she heard him say, "Of course, I can, but you know I'm very busy. If you win a prize in the town competition next year, I will go with you." Lin Zhengren continued, "And I can accompany you to watch a movie by the way. Did you regret falling asleep after watching a movie last time? You kept repeating it in my ear for several days in a row. This time, we can make up for your regret together." Zhang Zuli was so happy that she almost flew up. She couldn't sit still. She stood up and grinned. "Really? Big idiot, you said you would accompany me to the movies. And you took the initiative to invite me. Then I have to think about it carefully." She raised her head and pretended to look at the sky and think. Lin Zhengren said softly, "If you think it doesn't matter if you don't watch, anyway." But before he could finish, Zhang Zuli interrupted him. "Watch it? Who said I won't watch it? I've decided to watch it. It's just a small town champion, right?" She patted her chest proudly. "You big idiot, let me tell you, after so many years of your teaching and my extraordinary talent, I am actually the strongest in the studio. I said before that I was just modest when I said I was just strong in the studio. If I want to win, as long as you are by my side, I will definitely win." Seeing her confident look, Lin Zhengren was beaming with joy while speaking, and his twin ponytails would occasionally stick up to the sides. At this time, the recording engineer in the distance shouted, "Lily, everyone else has finished recording. Have you rested well?" Zhang Zuli turned around and responded, "Oh, I have rested well. I will drink some water and go over soon." After that, she looked at Lin Zhengren and smiled. "Today, I will let you see the results of my recent period in advance. As a singer you have cultivated, I will never lose to anyone." She ran to a distance and unscrewed a bottle of mineral water to moisten her throat, and then quickly went to the recording studio. Picking up the microphone, taking a deep breath, the joyful mood gave Zhang Zuli endless motivation. Opening her throat, she sang the song that will be sung on the stage next year. Lin Zhengren looked at her with his arms around his chest, and smiled unconsciously after a moment. Zhang Zuli's talent is indeed stronger than that of ordinary people. After his help, she has indeed been able to surpass others in the studio. At this moment, the other singers in the studio were attracted by Zhang Zuli's singing, watching her singing movements and listening to her beautiful and cheerful voice, and sighing at the difference in strength. The female boss of the studio, who had just finished work outside, happened to come in from the door. Hearing Zhang Zuli's singing, she couldn't help but stop and smiled with relief. "It's been so many years, and I haven't seen such a talented girl for a long time." Zhang Zuli kept her eyes on Lin Zhengren while singing. The last line of the song is "You are my eternal star." Her cheeks flushed, and she closed her eyes and smiled at Lin Zhengren after singing. "Big fool, with what you just said, I will never be afraid again. You will definitely be mine, and no one can take you away from me. Zhang Zuli will definitely win. Thanks to the big boss. I ate 3 bowls of noodles yesterday for the reward of 500 starting coins. Thanks to the big boss Zhang Ziajin for the reward of 500 starting coins. Thanks to the big boss Dom Deacon for the reward of 100 starting coins." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69, Together Forever. It was already very late after recording the song. Zhang Zuli's singing level made everyone have high hopes for next year's town competition, and they thought that the studio might be able to make a name for itself in next year's competition. Zhang Zuli, with her hands behind her back, walked home with Lin Zhengren. It gets dark very quickly in winter, and the streets were less quiet with only cars coming and going. "Big idiot, I heard that girls will grow rapidly after entering high school. Do you think I will grow very tall by then?" "Taller than you." Lin Zhengren looked at Zhang Zuli's bouncing twin ponytails, who was slightly taller than He Qing. "You think too much. I will still grow, but you and I probably won't grow much." "Ah. Why? But I'm only 1.63 meters. I've grown a lot in the past few years. Haven't you studied biology? The 3 years of junior high school are the 3 years when girls grow the fastest. Although they will still grow in high school, they probably won't grow in height." "Not height? What then?" She really didn't understand. Lin Zhengren rolled his eyes at him. "Go read it yourself, Tisk, stingy guy. Do you think you are the only one who studies well? I am also a good student. Anyway, I have always been in the middle." Zhang Zuli glanced at Lin Zhengren's profile secretly and muttered, "Although you are better, I don't know if it is really the eyes of the beholder. Zhang Zuli always thinks that this guy is always handsome. It's just that sometimes he pretends to be too cool, making people feel that he doesn't look like a child at all." She suddenly said, "The past few years in junior high school have passed so quickly. In a week, it will be winter vacation, and next year will be the last grade of 9th grade. In fact, since I graduated from elementary school, I have been quite scared." "Scared?" Lin Zhengren was curious. Zhang Zuli turned her head away from him and said shyly, "I am just afraid that the world when I grow up will be different from what I thought when I was a child." Lin Zhengren snorted and didn't interrupt again. Zhang Zuli turned her face back to look at the ground in front of her. She knew what she was afraid of in the past 2 years. "I was afraid that my relationship with him would change when He Qing came back from junior high school. I was afraid that the big fool would be snatched away by the lovely He Qing. I was afraid that he would never accompany me again and would forget me, but I feel much more at ease after what you said this afternoon. I will no longer question whether I am a loser, because I heard with my own ears how much I weigh in your heart. If even your sincere words can't give me confidence, then I am useless. From today on, I will firmly believe that I can definitely win, and I will never have the thought of losing again." Zhang Zuli's thoughts and words were not connected to each other. Some words were spoken, and some were continued in her heart. It made others feel confused. But no matter what she said, Lin Zhengren never poured cold water on others when they were inspiring their fighting spirit. "Come on." When Zhang Zuli heard those 2 words, her heart was beating fast, and she bit her lips immediately, with hot steam coming out of her head. At the intersection, she said goodbye to Lin Zhengren. Big idiot, see you at school tomorrow. Don't forget what you promised me today. If I win the competition next year, you will go to the zoo and the movies with me. Don't worry, I always keep my word. Zhang Zuli waved her hand and smiled as she crossed the road. Lin Zhengren also turned around and went home. However, when the girl with twin ponytails walked past a huge intersection, she did not continue to move forward. Instead, she stopped silently, looked back and saw Lin Zhengren, who had already walked away, and said loudly, "Big idiot. Don't forget what we said when we made a pinky promise at school." She deliberately waited until a large truck passed by, mixed the next sentence with the noise of the passing car, and shouted loudly before Lin Zhengren turned around, "We will be together forever." Lin Zhengren looked back at the girl on the other side of the road. However, Zhang Zuli had disappeared at the end of the road, making people feel that the words just now did not seem to be shouted by her. The passing of the large truck also made it difficult for ordinary people to hear what was just shouted. But Lin Zhengren was not an ordinary person. He heard it clearly. He smiled and let out a long breath, then turned around and walked towards home. Lin Zhengren had actually tried this when he was very young. When he used the system to sign a contract with a so-called fairy girl, there was no way to separate the contract. So when he signed a contract with someone, he didn't actually just find someone to sign with. After all, the red thread of fate was hard to break once it was connected. Fairy He and Miss Zhang have both been trapped by the bottleneck of their inner demons recently, and their cultivation has been slow to progress. If this continues for a long time, their minds will be confused and they will be possessed by demons. From then on, they will stop on the road of cultivation and fall into the hands of genius. Fortunately, with your help, they have both solved their inner demons and have each broken through to a higher level of cultivation. In return, Fairy He will give you the Guangxiu silk she made by herself. This is a supreme fairy magic weapon made by the fairy disciples with their own spiritual charm. After you get it, it will always increase your luck cultivation speed and various abilities. Miss Zhang's luck connection has also become stronger, which has greatly improved your future cultivation speed. You have gained a total of 3 increases in your spiritual energy level, doubled your cultivation speed, 5 increases in strength, 5 increases in energy, 5 increases in charm, and 7 increases in physical strength. Your current spiritual energy level is level 48. Your current attributes are strength 58. When the value reaches 50, you can gain the special ability of muscles even without exercise. Unlocked energy 55. When the value reaches 60, you can gain the special ability of 7 times a night without fatigue. Physical strength 63. When the value reaches 70, you can get the special ability of double physical strength and triple endurance. Charm 55. You have unlocked the ability of double favorability. You have successfully unlocked the special ability that your physical strength will not weaken even if you don't exercise, and your body will no longer be troubled by any disease, and the disease will no longer affect your health. On the way home, Lin Zhengren heard the voice of the system in his mind, which was like pouring beans from a bamboo tube. Feeling the improvement of various values of the body, he was also surprised by the ability unlocked after the strength reached 50. The system did not write the effect that the body would no longer be affected by diseases, or it was not obvious before. He originally thought that it was just that the strength was not reduced, but he did not expect that there would be an unexpected gain. It feels like I don't need to cover myself with a quilt when I sleep at night in the future. Anyway, I won't get sick. Of course, covering myself with a quilt is more comfortable, and it's better not to cover myself. His figure gradually disappeared, but Zhang Zuli was hiding in the corner of the intersection on the other side. Her chest rose and fell nervously, and she covered her mouth with a red face. Her hands were shaking with excitement. The phone rang suddenly, and Zhang Zuli's heart almost jumped out of her throat. She hurriedly reached for her pocket. Fortunately, it was not Lin Zhengren who called. It was her mother. She picked up the phone. "Hello? Mom? What's wrong?" Mom said. "Nothing. Just asking why you haven't come back today." "Dinner is almost ready," Zhang Zuli hurriedly replied. "Oh, I'll be back soon. I'm on my way home." She hung up the phone and hurried home happily. But when Zhang Zuli left, no one saw that on another street, a fox went out to buy things and looked at Zhang Zuli's leaving figure in surprise. That minute just now shocked Han Wenwen for the whole day. "This is really it, son dear." She actually shouted it directly on the street. Thanks to the big boss of walking in the world for the reward of 500 starting coins. Chapter 70, Absurd brain circuits. Han Wenwen returned to the dormitory with the things she bought. Seeing Xiao Heqing stretching on the balcony, the girl's ponytail made the sweet Xiao Heqing look resolute and capable at the moment. She raised one leg to the wall above her head and slowly pressed it down diagonally. Wenwen, you're back? Did you go to record the video again today? Xiao Heqing hurriedly greeted her best friend when she saw her best friend coming back. Han Wenwen closed the dormitory door and nodded. Well, I stayed in the rental house for another day and bought some dinner. Why did Xiao Heqing start exercising in the dormitory today? Xiao Heqing put down her legs, just to activate my limbs. I'm preparing for next year's taekwondo competition. Since I entered junior high school, I feel that my practice speed is much slower than before. There has not been much progress in more than a year. I feel that I can't slack off anymore. She went outside to wash her hands and came back, otherwise, it will be difficult to play in next year's competition. Han Wenwen sat on the edge of the bed curiously, and she sat over with her fox eyes looking at her. Oh? This is quite interesting. What do you mean by slacking off for more than a year? You mean that Xiao Heqing has been influenced by classmate Lin Sehengren and can't even practice taekwondo? Han Wenwen stared at the other party meaningfully, covering her mouth with a smile on her face. Then what did you practice on weekends in the past year? Don't tell me that you didn't practice at all and went on secret dates every week. Little He Qing blushed as she helped her unpack the box. What? I must have practiced it, but... Oh, she said ashamedly. Wenwen, you don't know what I think about every day. Ever since Zhang Zuli showed up, I've been very distracted, so I couldn't practice well. Han Wenwen, so you mean you don't have to worry about her anymore? Little He Qing handed the chopsticks to the other party. To be precise, I'm not afraid anymore. Han Wenwen looked at her bestie and took the chopsticks. Little Qing, have you confessed to Lin Sehengren today? How did he answer you? You didn't say it yesterday, so you won't back down today, right? Not today. Little He Qing bit her lip and was a little entangled, but still told Han Wenwen the truth. I was confessed. As for how he answered me, Wenwen, you also know that Lin Sehengren doesn't like junior high school girls, so he must have refused. Isn't this a matter of course? She said it with confidence, without any sad tone at all, and even asked back. Han Wenwen sat there blankly, and suddenly froze. She slowly opened her red lips. Huh? The little fox rarely understood what Xiao Heqing was saying. Xiao Heqing continued to explain while holding the chopsticks. Lin Sehengren told us a long time ago, and Wenwen should know that he doesn't like junior high school girls, because they are too young and he is not interested, so he will never agree. How can he agree to junior high school girl confessing to him? She said with a smile, grinning. It would be better if she didn't smile, because her smile was more powerful than not smiling. It made Han Wenwen's brain even more confused. What are you talking about? She asked in a low voice. So since you knew he wouldn't agree, then what was the point of you being busy for the past half-month to confess? Little He Qing pursed her lips and spoke softly. Before. That was because Zhang Zuli showed up after I entered junior high school, so I was always afraid that he would be snatched away by someone else, and I wanted to get closer to him. I felt that the strategy you gave me before was not very useful, so I resorted to this desperate measure to get closer to him. She stared at Han Wenwen, whose brain was short-circuited, and explained. But that was because I was confused at the time. I completely forgot about a very important thing. I only remembered this after I went to Lin Sehengren's house today. That is, him and I, she spoke every word happily, we two have been boyfriend and girlfriend for a long time. There is no need for me to confess. Or rather, confession can't bring us closer, because for us who are already boyfriend and girlfriend, confession is completely useless. Han Wenwen, huh? No one knows what the little fox is thinking at the moment, or maybe she is not thinking about anything. After all, she knew every word that Xiao Heqing said, but she didn't know what they meant when they were put together, and she couldn't understand it at all. Xiao Heqing said excitedly, we have been together since we were very young. When we were in the last year of kindergarten, we agreed that we would never separate. He has not forgotten this sentence, and neither have I, so, you understand, Wenwen? I have been thinking wrong all along, Xiao Heqing said shyly. What I have to do is not to discuss the question of who he likes, but to make him not be unfaithful and cheat. Make him like me more than other girls. The dormitory was very quiet, and only the small noises of students passing by could be heard downstairs. Han Wenwen blinked and suddenly laughed, holding her stomach. She couldn't close her mouth at all. This made little He Qing so embarrassed. Why are you laughing, Wenwen? What I said is not right. Han Wenwen really couldn't stand it anymore and waved her hands. No, I finally understood what little He Qing meant. I can only say that little He Qing is right this time. After all, when you first told me in the south that there was a girl around him, weren't we discussing the fact that classmate Lin Songren might like someone else? Han Wenwen figured out what little He Qing meant, and slowly stopped smiling. She tried to mutter to herself and analyze seriously. If you analyze the phrase might like someone else carefully, it means that he liked you originally, so we were worried that he would fall in love with someone else after you were gone. In other words, you two have been together for a long time. Little He Qing nodded shyly. Yeah, I thought so too. The incredible brain waves of the two best friends were finally connected together. After that, Xiao Heqing suddenly became very motivated, so from today on, the goal has changed. I don't care what Zhang Zuli has done. What I have to do is to make myself better, let him know that I am no longer a child, so that I can get closer to him. Do some things that boyfriends and girlfriends should do. I haven't seen Xiao Heqing so motivated for a long time. Han Wenwen took out 2 cans of soda from the package box and handed one to Xiao Heqing with a smile. Then to celebrate that you two have been together for a long time, cheers! Xiao Heqing opened the soda and clinked glasses with Han Wenwen. Cheers! Both girlfriends took a big sip. Xiao Heqing said, by the way, Wenwen. When Lin Songren and I went to his house to play today, he said that if I won the taekwondo championship in the town next year, he could fulfill one of my wishes. What do you think is the best wish for me to make? Han Wenwen said curiously, biting her finger. Well, since you are already in that kind of relationship, then we don't need to beat around the bush anymore. She greeted Xiao Heqing and whispered something in her ear. Xiao Heqing blushed. I feel like I would be very shy about this wish, but it sounds good. In the evening, the busy day finally passed in the interesting discussion between the two besties. In the next week, Xiao Heqing and Zhang Zuli both seemed to be full of fighting spirit. They were busy with their own things and were full of expectations for the upcoming high school life next year, especially after another year. A week later, the final exam was held. Lin Songren also took some time to tutor Han Wenwen before the exam. Sure enough, under the careful teaching of this semester, Han Wenwen's final grades were in the upper middle level. After another week, the school officially announced the start of winter vacation and the new year was coming. Thanks to Mo Lingling for the 1,500 starting coins. Thanks to Zhuoing Fake for the 500 starting coins. Thanks to 20220514164352025 inches for the 200 starting coins. Thanks to Fu Aston for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to the boss of Xiao for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to the boss of Going to the Sea of Shrimp for the 100 starting coins. It's the beginning of the month, please give me some monthly tickets. Chapter 71 Little Fox's New Year. In the noisy school, students who were about to welcome the winter vacation went to the dormitory to pack their things and tie up their bags to go home. Many parents had already driven their cars to the door to pick up their children. Although the end time of each class was different, Lin Songren, Han Wenwen and others still gathered together before going to the dormitory. On the way, Xiao Heqing walked on the right side of Lin Songren and asked her best friend, Wenwen, you are not going back for the winter vacation this year? Continue to stay in the north with your uncle. Han Wenwen nodded with a smile. Well, my uncle has been doing some business in the past 2 years. If I go back by myself, I will be alone at home, so I have to follow him. Xiao Heqing hummed. Then I have to go back by myself again. We can talk on the phone at any time. If you go back halfway, tell me and I will pick you up at the station. Okay, thank you, Xiao Heqing. I will call you anytime if I go back to the south. Han Wenwen lied as if it was commonplace, and she didn't blush at all. Lin Songren just glanced at her and didn't interrupt the farewell of the two best friends. Zhang Zuli also touched Lin Songren's arm with her arm at this time. Big idiot. My mother said that our family will go back to our hometown this afternoon. It just so happens that the studio is also on holiday, so I may not come back for more than 10 days. Lin Songren looked at her curiously. Going to my hometown? I see. Then you have a good time in your hometown for the next 10 days, and we will train again when you come back. Zhang Zuli smiled and nodded. I will call you when you come back. In the afternoon, the four of them packed their luggage. Lin Songren, Zhang Zuli and Han Wenwen first went to the station to see Xiao Heqing off. After that, Zhang Zuli also went home and had to go back to her hometown with her parents. So in the evening, Only Lin Sehengren and Han Wenwen were left standing there in the station. Lin Sehengren asked, "When are you going to tell He Qing that you will never go back to the south again?" Han Wenwen looked at Gao Tai, who had left long ago. "Wait until I earn enough money to support myself, so that Xiao Qing won't worry about me. Otherwise, if I tell her now that I live alone, Xiao Qing will definitely cry with her gentle personality, and will ask me to live at her house or give me money or something like that." She glanced at Lin Sehengren beside her with her fox eyes. "I don't want to accept charity from others, especially since Xiao He Qing is my best friend. If I accept her charity, then our friendship will change and our relationship will no longer be equal." Lin Sehengren also looked at him. He felt that her mind was really much more mature than her peers. The little fox smiled and said, "Of course, I can't repay Lin Sehengren's kindness. In return, I can only try my best to meet Lin Sehengren's requests. I can even consider asking him to marry me." Lin Sehengren was used to her joking teasing, so he walked out of the station without answering. "Do you have any money?" Han Wenwen walked side by side with him. "One more thing, I haven't posted many game videos since the start of school, and I've made less money." The little fox, who was very good at reading the atmosphere, took the initiative to speak. "How about I treat Lin Sehengren to dinner tonight, and Lin Sehengren can help me move my luggage? It's not easy for me to move so many things by myself." "Okay, what does Lin Sehengren want to eat?" "Stewed chicken." "I was thinking the same thing. You took the demon cult's red blood chicken soup and gained one more physical strength." That night, Lin Sehengren and Han Wenwen moved their school things to the rental house. After dinner, he said goodbye to the little fox and went home. Han Wenwen waved to Lin Sehengren at the door. Before the new year, every household will start preparing for the new year, buying things, cleaning, and pasting spring festival couplets to make the new year look new. But Han Wenwen has never done such a thing. She has always been a spectator since she was a child. Because every time during the new year, there would be guests at her uncle's house, and Han Wenwen would hide in her room every time, trying not to go to the living room to cause trouble for her uncle, so as not to let the guests ask, "Do you have children at home?" There are still 10 days before the new year. This morning, Han Wenwen got up and took a hot bath, put on nice clothes and shoes, and went to the supermarket downstairs to buy some snacks to keep at home. This is her first new year on her own. On the way, she saw children running on the street in new clothes, and passers-by calling their families to tell them that the company had just had a holiday, and talking about what spring festival couplets to buy. The lively atmosphere really creates a carnival of the end of the old year. She went to the mall alone, pushing a cart, and saw people in the supermarket buying things and preparing for the new year. Some children would stand there blankly and say, "This sister is so beautiful," when they see a beautiful sister like Han Wenwen. Every time, Han Wenwen would bend down with a smile and touch his head, praising, "What a cute little boy." Standing in front of the shelf, Han Wenwen poked her lips with her finger. She was a little confused about buying New Year's goods for the first time. "What should I stock up for the new year? I don't need to buy food. There is no refrigerator in the rental house. I'll just buy some snacks." She picked out some snacks she liked and instant noodles, because the supermarket in the town was closed during the new year. She had to make sure she didn't starve to death during those days. She also bought some cooked food and fruits and went to the cashier. The cashier gave her the bill, a total of 373. Han Wenwen was very surprised to see the price. She thought that the new year was the new year, and things were so expensive. Especially the price of fruits almost tripled. The small treasury was in urgent need, and she was heartbroken. She returned home with a pile of food, put the snacks in a box, washed the fruits, and cut some cooked food for dinner tonight. When people are busy, they can't think of anything. Only after they are busy, they can think of something. Han Wenwen was lying on the bed alone, looking out the window at the sky where fireworks occasionally glided across. She sighed. "It seems that there is nothing to be busy about. After all, I will probably watch the fireworks alone at home during the new year this year." There was a knock on the door of the room. Han Wenwen knew who was coming, and quickly got up and walked over. When she opened the door, it was indeed Lin Sehengren. Lin Sehengren also brought some fruits into the room. Seeing the fruits on her table, he was curious. "Did you buy fruits?" "If I had known, I would have bought something else," Han Wenwen responded blankly. "Yeah, I went to the supermarket to buy some New Year's goods." Buying New Year's goods, Lin Sehengren was sitting on the bed and saw a box full of potato chips, biscuits and the like. He was surprised. "So many snacks, do you eat them as meals? What else did you buy?" Han Wenwen closed the door, Nothing, mainly because I was afraid that the supermarket would be closed during the new year and there would be nothing to eat, so I bought a little more. She sat next to Lin Zhengren. Lin Zhengren casually said, "You have a small walk, I'll go with you to buy some ingredients 2 or 3 days before the Chinese New Year. Winter is not so bad, we can just cook here, 3 dishes and 1 soup will be enough." Han Wenwen was surprised. "Lin Zhengren, don't you eat at home during the Chinese New Year?" "Of course I eat at home, but you must shoot a New Year video during the Chinese New Year, right? That's the time when the traffic is the highest in the year, how can you miss it? In case you can't shoot well, eat at home and I'll come over to watch you edit the video." Making money is still very important. Han Wenwen stared at the other person with fox eyes. She was inexplicably moved. She didn't know how many times she was inexplicably moved by Lin Zhengren. She tilted her head and looked at him with a smile. Han Wenwen, who has a very high emotional intelligence, how could she not know that he was afraid that she would be lonely and came to accompany her? "Well, then I'll wait for you here and wait for you to eat together." Another string of small fireworks bloomed in the air outside the window. Thanks to the 100 starting coins rewarded by the Big Brother 2018061918032739 inches. Chapter 72 The Little Fox Who Never Tires from Looking for Trouble. 3 more days have passed, and there are still 7 days until the new year. This morning, Han Wenwen, with long hair and wearing strawberry pajamas, sat in front of the computer and started a competitive game. There was a knock on the door of the room. Han Wenwen was surprised. "Lin Zhengren, yes, it's me, I'm playing games." "Lin Zhengren, open the door yourself." Lin Zhengren took out the spare key from his pocket, opened the door and saw the little fox sitting on the chair. "You got up so early today." Han Wenwen clicked the mouse. "I need to eat, I'll take advantage of the winter vacation to play a dozen more as stock." Lin Zhengren put the breakfast aside and took a chair to sit next to Han Wenwen. Han Wenwen's screen recording software was already open, but no sound could be recorded. She smiled and asked, "What did Lin Zhengren buy this morning?" "Dumplings, then I'll transfer the money to you later." "What kind of dumpling?" Lin Zhengren didn't answer and tapped the little fox's head with his hand. "You missed a soldier, don't talk, have fun." Han Wenwen pouted. "I don't know why, whether it is He Qing or Zhang Zuli. Although the 2 girls have fragrance, it is not as strong as Han Wenwen's." When they first met, Lin Zhengren thought it was the smell of Han Wenwen's shampoo or shower gel. Later, he found out that the shampoo and shower gel she used were the same brand as his. So he still doesn't know where this nice smell comes from. First blood. Han Wenwen happily leaned over and touched Lin Zhengren with her shoulder when she returned to the city after the game. "Won't classmate Lin Zhengren praise me?" Lin Zhengren had a blank expression. "Great, keep going." The fox eyes glanced at him and changed the address. "Brother Zhengren is sometimes at Sundeer. He doesn't know how to praise people." Lin Zhengren knocked her head again. The little fox cooperated and let out an ow. After playing a game, Lin Zhengren took Han Wenwen's phone and opened its video platform data. He earned more than 40 yuan for several days. It's Chinese New Year, if only the school's update frequency could also make this much money. Han Wenwen leaned closer to Lin Zhengren, her hands on Lin Zhengren's legs for support. "Their face is only half a fist away, but I only make a lot during the winter vacation, and I only make about 20 yuan during normal times. After deducting the rent and other miscellaneous money, there is not much left, although I am also satisfied with these. It's okay, I will play games with you more during this winter vacation, and occasionally post a few New Year videos." Seizing this wave of large traffic may be enough for half a year's rent and food. Han Wenwen's eyes were close to Lin Zhengren's profile when he spoke, and suddenly she remembered the He-Lin strategy she had taught Xiao Qingqing before. She was curious, is what was written on it really useless to Lin Zhengren? Slowly blew a scent on Lin Zhengren's ear. Lin Zhengren, who was speaking, was speechless. He turned around and looked at her and asked speechlessly, "What are you doing? Are you crazy?" Han Wenwen bit her lower lip and shyly whispered, "Why are you scolding me? I read in a novel that when a girl blows into a boy's ear, the boy's heartbeat will speed up. Will it happen to you, Brother Zhengren?" She stretched out her hand to touch Lin Zhengren's heart, but Lin Zhengren grabbed her arm. He knocked on the head again. "Behave yourself." Han Wenwen covered her head with her hands unhappily, and as if intentionally or unintentionally, she rested her forehead on his shoulder, looking at him secretly. "You always hit me so violently, but even if Brother Zhengren is fierce all day long, I won't be angry. I will just feel sorry for whether brother's hands are hurt. Lin Sehengren was really too lazy to talk nonsense with this guy, and pushed her head away with her hand. When I came here, I saw that some other families had started to put up spring festival couplets. Are you going to put them up this year? Hearing this, the little fox pulled the chair closer to him and said as a matter of course, of course. Why not? I want to put them up. Didn't you say you have no money? She retorted, looking at the other person closely. We can always make some if we squeeze in, especially this year as my first new year after becoming independent. How can I not prepare well? Lin Sehengren didn't want to get so close to her, so he stood up and went to the bedside to read. In that case, after you finish dubbing the video you edited recently, I'll go with you to the market to buy some spring festival couplets to paste on the door. It's not expensive, just buy a pair of vertical couplets and a horizontal couplet. Han Wenwen smiled and nodded. Suddenly, she turned around and looked at the computer and suddenly said, I'm really happy that Lin Sehengren is here to accompany me this year. Lin Sehengren looked at her as she started to record the video with his eyes reading the book, and didn't say anything. After recording the video, Lin Sehengren checked it again and confirmed that there was no problem before posting it on the video software. Soon some loyal fans began to comment, Grandpa, the video up you follow has been updated. Finally posted a video, one more a week. This frequency won't make it popular. I like to watch more. I like to listen to the up's voice. It's really rare for a girl to play so well. Lin Sehengren flipped through the comments and thought that this fox did have an advantage in this aspect in addition to the game skills he taught her. Not long after, Han Wenwen finished breakfast with Lin Sehengren, picked up a few clothes from the box and went to the bathroom, reminding Lin Sehengren, Brother Sehengren, don't peek at me changing clothes, even though I'm wearing underwear. Lin Sehengren flipped through a book. You don't know how to lock the door, but I don't like to lock the door. That's okay. I won't peek anyway. I'm not interested. Han Wenwen blinked and smiled. Really? In that case, I'll change here. It's so troublesome to go to the bathroom. It's up to you. Han Wenwen said oh, and it seemed that she was really going to start taking off her pajamas, and there was even a faint humming sound along with the movement of taking off her pajamas. My pajamas seem to be stuck. Brother Sehengren, come and help me. Lin Sehengren's forehead was full of blue veins, and he took a pillow and threw it at the annoying fox. Stop acting. What are you doing when your pajamas are so loose? Go to the bathroom and change. Han Wenwen caught the pillow at the speed of light, bit her lips, blushed, and chuckled, and whispered, it seems that Brother Sehengren is not really uninterested in girls. It's just that Xiao Qing and Zhang Zuli haven't found Brother Sehengren's weakness. He looked at him with contempt. No, you just affect my reading. Han Wenwen smiled meaningfully, and her eyes seemed to say, Brother Sehengren is shy. After that, she ignored Lin Sehengren's murderous eyes and fled to the bathroom, but soon showed her head to remind him, actually, no matter how bold I am, I will not change clothes in front of classmate Lin Sehengren. I was just teasing Brother Sehengren. After all, I am a girl and I will still be shy. Lin Sehengren was convinced by this guy, and he was very curious about when the name Brother Sehengren started. It always feels like it started last holiday, especially in the past few days. This fox has been calling out very frequently. But Lin Sehengren knew that he couldn't let her change her words. Otherwise, this rebellious fox would definitely say, Brother Sehengren doesn't let me call you Brother Sehengren? Well, Brother Sehengren, no problem. Brother Sehengren, I won't call you Brother Sehengren from now on. It will definitely be like this. After changing clothes, the little fox put on a skirt and a sweater jacket. Even in winter, this fox seems to care about her appearance. Most girls of this age are the same. Walking on the road, Han Wenwen stretched out her little hand that was a little red from the cold, checked the comments just now, and said with a smile, Brother Sehengren, do you know? So many people praise me, but I didn't feel moved by Brother Sehengren's praise. Lin Sehengren walked side by side with her. Is it fun for you to say boring things every day? Han Wenwen looked at Lin Sehengren and pursed her lips. What's boring? Brother Sehengren doesn't like to talk, so I can only take the initiative to find topics. I just want to talk more with Brother Sehengren. Thanks to the big brother of 100 Rivers returned to the sea for the reward of 500 starting coins. Thanks to the 100 Kidian coins rewarded by 2,023,020,213,737. Lily's popularity is really low. I wrote about her for 2 days, and all the readers have lost it. Chapter 73 Shopping for New Year's Goods with Han Wenwen. When Han Wenwen was playing with her phone, some little girls wearing new clothes passed by on the street. After passing by, they looked back at Lin Sehengren and discussed in a low voice. This boy is so handsome. Yes, I rarely see such a handsome boy on the street. Han Wenwen turned half back and saw several people chatting and peeking. In fact, she didn't hear anything, but she could guess what they were talking about. She was a little angry and took Lin Suhengren's arm to look at those people. The charming fox eyes seemed to be fierce at the moment, as if declaring sovereignty. Seeing Han Wenwen's angry look, the girls smiled awkwardly and hurriedly quickened their pace to leave. After the few people left, Han Wenwen asked Lin Suhengren jealously, "Brother Suhengren is very popular with girls even outside of school. How about wearing a mask next time you go out?" Lin Suhengren looked at Han Wenwen, who seemed to be jealous, and looked at himself angrily. "What's with that expression on your face? I don't like wearing it. What's it to me what they say?" And, Lin Suhengren said briefly, and used his hands to pry open Han Wenwen's hands, "Can you let go of my arms? Don't you know that men and women should not touch each other?" Han Wenwen saw her hands being pried apart, and she turned her head and snorted in jealousy. As a result, when she saw a girl coming, her sensitive nerves quickly put her arms around her. This trick really worked. After declaring her sovereignty, other girls would not chat. Lin Suhengren opened her arms again, but when she saw a girl coming, she hugged her again. There were many pedestrians on the road during the new year, especially children. The two of them went back and forth, making some children shout mischievously. "This brother and sister are showing their love on the street, so disgusting." Han Wenwen blushed rarely, and secretly waved and greeted the children with a smile. Lin Suhengren was speechless. The misunderstanding deepened. He simply ignored her and said, "Go home after you finish shopping." Han Wenwen took Lin Suhengren's arm as she wished. Seeing that he didn't care about her, she walked forward happily and said with a red face, "There are a lot of things to buy today. It's still early to go back." The two came to the stall selling Spring Festival couplets and chose carefully. In the end, they picked a couplet with a zodiac pattern. The price was not expensive. After all, they only bought 3 in total. After packing the couplets, Han Wenwen looked at the stall selling small red lanterns in the distance before she got up. She pointed over there, "Brother Suhengren, buy 2 lanterns. Every household in our southern town hangs these." Lin Suhengren was puzzled, "But you live in a rental house, where are you going to hang them?" "On the air conditioner." Han Wenwen tilted her head and acted like a spoiled child. "Buy them, it's okay to play with them. Anyway, Brother Suhengren doesn't have to spend money." Lin Suhengren, "Actually, what you said makes sense, but you are holding my arm now, otherwise I will wait for you here, and you go by yourself?" "Then it has nothing to do with me." Han Wenwen was reluctant to let go, probably because she knew that Lin Suhengren would not let her hold his arm after she let go, and she looked at the little red lantern pitifully. She clung to Lin Suhengren, and this pitiful look was probably learned from He Qing. Lin Suhengren walked forward helplessly, and Han Wenwen followed him. When they came to the lantern stall, they picked out a handheld lantern and bought some small fireworks. She was very grateful to Lin Suhengren. "Thank you, Brother Suhengren. Brother Suhengren is so nice to me." "Stop talking, you scumbag." On the way back, the two of them simply bought some food, and as expected, they exceeded their budget. However, after returning to the rental house, Han Wenwen looked at the small treasury that was about to be exhausted and did not show any distressed expression. Instead, she squatted on the ground and counted the small fireworks she bought and flicked the small red lantern with her hands. The invisible fox ears fluttered a few times. Lin Suhengren sat on the bed and took a paper cup to pour water to drink. "You really don't intend to save it all. You are stingy when eating, but generous when buying toys." Han Wenwen's slender fingers were still slowly flicking the lantern, and she said happily, "The main thing is to have fun. Money can be earned again if it is gone, but if I don't buy more things, how can I let Brother Suhengren accompany me for so long? And I only feel that I have earned it if the money can buy Brother Suhengren's time." Seeing her smiling face, Lin Suhengren didn't know how to complain. At noon, the two of them had lunch in the room. Although Han Wenwen had a small wok, her cooking skills were terrible. Compared with Xiao He Qing, they were worlds apart. The scrambled eggs with tomatoes she made at noon were green and purple. Lin Suhengren could only describe it this way. Because the appearance was really hard to describe, it was hard to imagine that it was made by a person. "Lin Suhengren, you said you eat this all day recently. How nutritious is it? And it just doesn't look good, but it's actually very delicious. Brother Suhengren, try it." He saw Han Wenwen pick up the food with the black steam and wanted to feed him, so he quickly stopped her. "No, I'll order takeout, you can eat it yourself." So Lin Suhengren ordered braised chicken for lunch, and Han Wenwen was guarding a plate of scrambled eggs with tomatoes and holding half a fried pancake. Two completely different foods were placed on the same table. Han Wenwen took a bite of the egg and put it in her mouth while watching Lin Suhengren chewing on the chicken leg. "Is the braised chicken in this restaurant delicious?" she asked. Lin Suhengren tasted it. "I can't say it's delicious. What does it taste like?" Lin Suhengren replied. "How can I describe it? It tastes like braised chicken." Han Wenwen bit her chopsticks and stared at the box of chicken. "Is that so? Can I try a piece?" "No, after all, you could have eaten it, but you wasted your money." Han Wenwen picked up another piece of egg and put it in her mouth, chewing it. Okay, Lin Suhengren couldn't eat anymore because of her staring at him. He had no appetite at all. He quickly took her chopsticks and picked up a few pieces of meat and put them in her bowl, then returned the chopsticks to her. Here, stop staring at my lunch and eat honestly." Although Lin Suhengren always looked resistant, Han Wenwen actually discovered that Lin Suhengren was a person who was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. He really made people feel safe like an older brother. So she also imitated Lin Suhengren's method, took his chopsticks and picked up 2 pieces of eggs from her bowl for him. "Brother Suhengren, try mine too. It's actually very delicious." Lin Suhengren really doubted her words, but he still tried it simply. Han Wenwen was curious. "How is it?" "My cooking skills are okay, right?" Lin Suhengren tasted the flavor of the egg seriously and was very surprised. Don't say. You can eat it without expression even if it's so unpalatable." Han Wenwen laughed so hard that she couldn't close her mouth. After calming down, she rolled her eyes at him and snorted. "After all, it's the meal that people made by hand. How can Brother Suhengren say that? Others want to eat but can't. Only Brother Suhengren is so picky." After eating and drinking, Lin Suhengren usually takes a nap to relax. The sun is very strong at noon in winter. Lin Suhengren lay on Han Wenwen's bed, warm on his body. Can you believe this? She can't even afford to eat, but she bought a pillow some time ago. It is said to be a backup, but it is obvious who it is for. Han Wenwen was lying next to Lin Suhengren at this moment, turning her head to look at him, and saw that he had received a call from He Qing. He Qing's voice was gentle and tender. "Lin Suhengren? Where are you? What are you doing?" Lin Suhengren closed his eyes. "Sleeping." "What are you doing, sleeping?" "Then I am disturbing you," He Qing whispered. "I have nothing to do, just asking what you are doing during the new year. Wenwen didn't come back this year, and I'm bored alone in my hometown." Lin Suhengren hummed and turned to look at Han Wenwen lying beside him. Who knew that Han Wenwen was jealously staring at Lin Suhengren, who was talking to He Qing on the phone, and whispered, "You are so fickle." Then she turned over and hugged the quilt with her back to Lin Suhengren, not wanting to pay attention to him. Thanks to the 100 starting coins rewarded by the Big Brother 2024110914592072 inches. Guys, please don't raise it. Although you can't kill it, please don't raise it. It will be updated a lot after it is put on the shelves. Chapter 74, The New Year of the Fox. Lin Suhengren hung up the phone after chatting with He Qing for a while. He closed his eyes again and ignored the fox next to him. As a result, the little fox's paw kicked his calf lightly in anger. "Lin Suhengren, are you crazy again?" Han Wenwen turned around and laughed again, staring at the other party. "Yes, I just don't like the way Brother Suhengren is talking on the phone." Lin Suhengren pulled the quilt to cover her eyes. "If you don't like it, don't look at me, just sleep your nap." Han Wenwen was speechless, but slowly she pulled down the quilt in front of her eyes and examined the way Lin Suhengren slept. Pursing her lips, Han Wenwen was really jealous even if Lin Suhengren was chatting with He Qing. Seeing him fall asleep, the little fox gently touched his hair with her fingers, and Lin Suhengren opened his hand. A few days later, there were only 2 days left before the Chinese New Year. Han Wenwen and Lin Suhengren officially went to the supermarket to buy vegetables and meat today, because Han Wenwen had an inexplicable love for chicken. Maybe she was really a fox spirit reincarnated in her previous life. Anyway, when she saw chicken-related ingredients, the fox would stare at them eagerly. She couldn't even walk, and she was drooling with greed. So during the Chinese New Year, Lin Suhengren accompanied her to buy an old hen and some red dates, wolfberries, Chinese yam, etc., preparing to stew chicken soup for the Chinese New Year. When passing by the supermarket shelf, Han Wenwen saw a small bag of flour and stopped. Pulling Lin Suhengren's clothes, "Brother Suhengren, shall we make dumplings for New Year's Day?" "Anyway, it's just the 2 of us, a little bit will be enough." Lin Suhengren blinked. In theory, we should make dumplings, but can you do it? I can't. Han Wenwen smiled. I can't either, but I can learn if I don't know. She looked at Lin Zhengren coquettishly and shook his clothes. Buy it, it won't be wasted. Lin Zhengren didn't understand. Why are you being coquettish? Anyway, you are paying for it yourself, so just buy it if you want to. It's not expensive. Han Wenwen blinked and reacted. That's right, how about I give the video account to Brother Zhengren in the future, and Brother Zhengren will keep all the money we earn, and then I will ask you to spend it. Are you free? I don't know what the point of doing this is. Han Wenwen poked her mouth with her finger as a matter of course and said, in this way, Brother Zhengren can be mean to me if I spend too much, and I can also act coquettishly to buy things as a matter of course. Lin Zhengren couldn't help but knock her on the head. I won't go crazy with you. If you want to buy it, just buy it. If not, just leave. Han Wenwen touched her head, which didn't hurt, and snorted softly. Brother Zhengren doesn't understand girls at all. Of course, it's also possible that he understands them too well. In the end, Han Wenwen still bought that small bag of flour and some side dishes to prepare dumplings for the Chinese New Year. There are only 24 hours left before the Chinese New Year. 12 o'clock tonight is the New Year. Han Wenwen got up early in the morning. She put her long hair that was usually scattered on her shoulders into a big strand and put it on one side of her chest. She put all the ingredients aside neatly with her fox paws. She found a large cardboard box from somewhere, opened it and spread it on the ground. And then put a blanket on it. In this way, she can sit on the ground to make dumplings. Tentatively sitting on the ground, she felt that it was not bad, so she leaned against the bed and began to learn the essentials of making dumplings on her mobile phone. Lin Zhengren came to Han Wenwen's place as usual and knocked on the door. Brother Zhengren, Lin Zhengren hummed, opened the door with a key, and saw that she was already sitting on the floor with the ingredients ready. Han Wenwen stared at the phone and took the time to look up at him. Brother Zhengren, you don't need to knock next time you come, just take the key and come in. I call this being polite. Han Wenwen looked at the phone and whispered casually, Brother Zhengren, you don't need to be polite to me, just do whatever you want here, I don't mind. Lin Zhengren snorted and ignored her and sat on the floor. Han Wenwen sat up again and put the phone in front of his face. Look, I searched for a few videos on making dumplings, and I have almost learned it. Brother Zhengren, do you want to take a look? Lin Zhengren took her phone. I just need to take a quick look. One time was enough, and he returned the phone to Han Wenwen. The little fox exclaimed, Brother Zhengren, have you memorized the steps again? I have memorized it, but I don't know if it will work the same way when I make it. What a good brain. I wish I was so smart, she praised. The two of them studied how to flatten the dough and then wrap it with their hands to make patterns. It might be because Lin Zhengren was always very good at everything. As a result, he was a little unfamiliar with making dumpling wrappers, which required practice. Han Wenwen kept covering her mouth and laughing. It seems that Brother Zhengren still needs a girl in the future, otherwise it will be troublesome to learn these trivial things one by one. Lin Zhengren rolled his eyes at her. Han Wenwen pinched the dumpling wrappers with her hands to make patterns and asked, I think I have always been very accurate in judging people. In my opinion, Brother Zhengren will definitely make a lot of money in the future. If Brother Zhengren really has money and becomes a big boss one day, Han Wenwen looked coquettish, then I will be Brother Zhengren's secretary? Follow you all day and handle trivial matters for you. Lin Zhengren rarely refused immediately, but thought about it. This slowness made Han Wenwen's smile fall. Lin Zhengren said seriously, if there really is such a day, I will consider it. After all, the position of secretary seems simple, but in fact, there are many things to be responsible for. It is not easy for ordinary people to do it, but you are quite suitable. Han Wenwen's face was inexplicably red, and the invisible 9 foxtails swayed back and forth. She also said seriously, really? So it's settled? In the future, if Brother Zhengren really has money, the secretary can only be me. In addition, Brother Zhengren, don't worry, I know that this kind of position must be absolutely loyal to the boss. In the future, I promise to be loyal to you in everything, she said meaningfully, with a joking expression. I will be Brother Zhengren's person in the future. Hello, boss. Lin Zhengren stopped talking to her. Don't talk nonsense, hurry up and wrap it, otherwise you won't be able to eat dinner at this speed. Whatever Brother Zhengren says is what I want to do. Yes, sir. After being busy for most of the day, Lin Zhengren received several calls in succession at noon. The first one was from He Qing, who chatted with her. Han Wenwen was wrapping dumplings on the side and looked a little jealous. The second call was from Zhang Zuli, who rarely called. She said something that seemed to be a New Year's greeting in a proud and coquettish manner. Han Wenwen sat on the side and puffed her cheeks with jealousy. Then another strange girl called. According to the other party's description, it seemed that she was also a classmate in junior high school. She specifically asked for Lin Sehengren's phone number to ask him how he planned to spend the new year. In fact, sometimes girls who have a crush on Lin Sehengren find his contact information through others and talk to him. Today is not the first time Han Wenwen has seen this, but today is the day she is most jealous, because the world of the two of them is different from the past. This time, she was so angry that she used a lot of force to make dumplings. Until the last call, the phone showed that it was Lin Sehengren's mother Lin Xiaoli. Thanks to the big boss of Xiaoji Yui Hongchen for the reward of 500 starting coins. Thanks to the big bosses for the monthly tickets, I ask for monthly tickets every day to follow me. Chapter 75, A Snowy Night Hug. Lin Sehengren saw his mother pick up the phone, and Han Wenwen also saw that it was a call from his aunt. Lin Sehengren, hello, Mom? What's wrong? Lin Xiaoli's tone seemed a little anxious, and she even cried a lot. Ranran, why don't you come to the hospital now? Something happened to your dad. I'll send you the location of the hospital. Lin Sehengren stood up in surprise. Hospital? Is it serious? Han Wenwen also stopped making dumplings. Lin Xiaoli said with tears in her eyes, don't worry, I heard from the doctor that it shouldn't be serious. It seems that he just broke his leg. Then why are you crying so hard? Mom is just scared. I can't stop crying when I hear the hospital calling. Lin Sehengren breathed a sigh of relief. I know, I'll go there now. Because of his anxious tone, Han Wenwen didn't hear everything, but only vaguely heard that something seemed to have happened to her uncle on the phone. Her heart skipped a beat. What's wrong, Brother Sehengren? Lin Sehengren went to the bathroom, washed his hands and took his coat. Wenwen, I have to go to the hospital. My dad seems to be injured. You can make dumplings and dishes first. Uncle's injured. Han Wenwen also wanted to go to the bathroom to wash her hands and take her coat. I'll go with you. I'll go see my uncle. Lin Sehengren stopped her. No, you wait here. If there's nothing, I will come back. Han Wenwen saw that he didn't let her go. The little fox who could sense the atmosphere also knew that she couldn't say anything at this time, otherwise it would upset him, so she stood at the door. Then be careful on the road. Okay, let's go. Han Wenwen looked at Lin Sehengren's hurriedly leaving figure. For a moment, she suddenly saw the scene when her mother left when she was a child. Her mother also received a phone call, so she left in a hurry and never came back. The overlapping memories made her subconsciously reach out her hand and shout, Brother Sehengren. Lin Sehengren heard the voice and looked back at her. The two looked at each other. Lin Sehengren saw her hand hovering in the air and smiled. It's okay, I'll be back soon. Then he went downstairs. Han Wenwen's fox eyes trembled slightly, and she slowly withdrew her hand. After going downstairs, Lin Sehengren took a taxi and went straight to the hospital address sent by his mother Lin Xiaoli. He didn't feel anything when he was in the car, but when he hurried to the hospital and heard his mother crying at the door, he suddenly panicked. Then he saw his father lying on the bed, chewing an apple. Lin Sehengren was stunned and looked at them speechlessly. In the ward, Lin Yingjin had a bandage on one foot, and the rest of the body looked intact, but his mother was so scared that she kept crying in her husband's arms. I was so scared. I thought I would never see you again. Lin Yingjin chewed the apple in his mouth. He was used to his timid wife and laughed as if to comfort his wife and his son who came running over. It's okay. Why are you crying? It's just that the road was slippery in winter and someone hit my car sideways. It's just a minor injury to my leg. Don't be afraid. Lin Sehengren listened to his laughing father and crying mother, and he was completely relieved. Lin Sehengren asked, Dad, are the test results out? Lin Yingjin replied, it should be soon. Anyway, I have finished it. At this time, the nurse happened to come over, and Lin Sehengren hurriedly asked if she was okay. The nurse said, are you the family member of bed number 3? The patient in bed number 3 just got the results of the examination. The little toe of the right foot is fractured, but there is nothing wrong with the rest of the body. He is very healthy. The nurse looked at the 3 people and said, of course, I suggest you wait until the afternoon to be discharged. If you are not feeling unwell by then, you can go through the discharge procedures. You should rest more at home and come to the hospital for regular checkups. It will heal soon. Also, Why is this lady crying so hard? Lin Xiaoli wiped her tears with tears in her eyes. I am worried. The nurse laughed and said, don't worry, we checked very carefully and there is no internal injury. Also, do you want to see the examination list? Lin Xiaoli nodded, and the nurse took out a list and took a quick look. There was indeed nothing wrong. It was also considered good luck. Lin Xiaoli walked to the bedside. It's okay. Dad hugged Mom and even took another bite of the apple. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's too much to cry so hard. A message popped up on the phone. It was sent by Han Wenwen. How is Uncle? Lin Xiaoli saw it and replied to the other party. It's okay. Don't worry. However, due to Dad's injury, Lin Xiaoli stayed with Dad until the afternoon when the doctor observed and said he could be discharged from the hospital, and then returned home. Helped Mom prepare the New Year's Eve dinner and other things. Mom's mood had eased a lot when she was cooking at home. Dad jumped into the kitchen on one foot. Do you want my help? Lin Xiaoli was scared. Hurry up and sit down and rest. It's scary. Dad laughed again, but with Lin Xiaoli here, Lin Yingjin went to the sofa to watch TV, at most helping to pick vegetables. Lin Xiaoli asked, by the way, Ranrun, are you going out after the New Year's Eve dinner tonight? Lin Xiaoli helped his mother cook soup. Yes, I made an appointment with my classmates. After saying that, he looked at the snow outside the window unexpectedly. It's snowing, and it's quite heavy. In the afternoon, heavy snow was falling from the sky outside the window. Han Wenwen had already finished wrapping dumplings in the house alone, and she was cooking chicken soup. The chicken that usually makes people drool did not interest Han Wenwen at this moment. Looking out the window from time to time, looking at the message Lin Xiaoli sent to her at noon on her mobile phone, she would feel relieved if someone else might receive this message. But Han Wenwen always thinks of her childhood. It was also in such a winter that Han Wenwen, who was a few years old, looked at the table full of food at home and waited quietly for her mother who had called and left to come back. As a result, she waited until dark and early the next morning, but her mother did not come again. At this moment, the chicken soup in the rental house was cooked, the dishes were also done, and the dumplings were just waiting to be put into the pot. It was already 4 or 5 o'clock, and the sky was getting darker and earlier in winter. Han Wenwen held her phone and went to the window to check for the umpteenth time. When she felt that the view from the window was limited, she put on her coat and tied a scarf and went downstairs. She stepped on the thin layer of snow on the ground and looked at the almost deserted intersection. The surrounding households had already gathered together. The scene at this moment was no different from the scene more than 10 years ago. Han Wenwen's nervous heart followed her side and looked into the distance, looking at the distant and dark intersection. When she was a child, Han Wenwen waited until the next day but still didn't get the result. But now, at the end of the intersection, Lin Xiaoli's slowly emerging figure made Han Wenwen's eyes light up. Lin Xiaoli, who came from home, naturally saw Han Wenwen from a distance, and saw her slowly walking towards him. Curious, Han Wenwen? Why are you standing here so late at night? The little fox took 2 steps at a time, and his steps became faster and faster until he suddenly jumped into Lin Xiaoli's arms on this snowy day. He hugged him tightly. Thanks to 20220813103446469 inches for the reward of 100 Kidian coins. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.